All of you know I'm a huge wrestling enthusiast. I absolutely love it more than Garfield loves lasagna. So much so that we actually have our own wrestling league, the Moist Wrestling League, and we even dropped our most recent episode a few days ago. This isn't meant to be a plug for it or anything. This is actually a really serious topic. The reason I mention that is because I'm just showcasing my passion for this craft. And for the longest time now, many decades, there has been this stain in the wrestling industry with a boogeyman that sits atop the food chain. His name is Vince McMahon. He is a cockroach that no amount of pest control can seem to get rid of. I'm confident even if you don't follow wrestling closely, you know Vince McMahon. He is extraordinarily wealthy and he has infested tons of other things even outside of just the wrestling industry. And this man is downright evil. He has a laundry list of deplorable, disgusting, heinous acts that would make the devil flinch. I've talked about him at length quite a bit on streams and even in a couple of videos in the past, so I'm not going to be focusing on his sins from the past here. I highly encourage all of you to just Google his name. It's not hard to find any of this information. It's all just right there out in the open, right there at your fingertips. It is horrible stuff. I'm not talking about just like some drama where he was mean behind the scenes, which of course he was. I'm talking about covering up crimes, sexual misconduct. The list goes on and on and on, seemingly no end. And that's just what we know. There's probably still tons and tons of skeletons in that fucking closet. But anyway, the reason I'm talking about Vince McMahon again today is he is now at the center of another massive lawsuit here that has actually forced his hand and had him resign from his position at the WWE/UFC. They recently merged the multi-billion-dollar deal, and Vince McMahon, in light of all of this, has stepped down. The information comes from someone named Janelle Grant, who worked at the WWE's headquarters and is accusing the company's founder, Vince McMahon, of sexual assault, sex trafficking, and physical abuse in the lawsuit that was filed on Thursday. According to the lawsuit, Grant alleged that McMahon promised a job and later promotions at WWE in exchange for sex, and the lawsuit also includes allegations that McMahon trafficked her to other men inside and outside of the company, and there is a couple of names that get dropped that are some very big, alarming names, obviously. Now, even if you're not part of the wrestling community, I bet you've heard some buzz about this lawsuit because some text messages allegedly leaked from it, as well as some of the claims in the lawsuit are extraordinarily disturbing. Like, it is some depraved shit. And I mean shit, literally. One of the big parts of this lawsuit that was popping off on Twitter, like general Twitter, was this section where Miss Grant is talking about a threesome that McMahon put her in. And she says, early in the encounter, McMahon immediately directed Miss Grant to lay down on her back in a supplicating position. While straddling over her, McMahon defecated on Miss Grant's head. McMahon left to shower off, but he instructed Miss Grant to remain in place with excrement in her hair and to continue performing for his friend. While Miss Grant requested protection, none was offered. McMahon and physical therapist actively continued with the threesome and directed Miss Grant's sexual performance for around an hour and a half while she was left covered in feces. Absolutely sickening and sadly not surprising behavior from Vince McMahon. I believe this is only the tip of the iceberg. I think this is the first domino to fall, and there's going to be a lot more information that comes out about some of the degeneracy, some of the crimes and awful shit that was going on behind the scenes under Vince McMahon here. Now, I saw quite a few people caught off guard by this, surprised to learn that Vince McMahon is a bad guy. They were wondering how this stayed buried or how any of the sexual misconduct allegations didn't surface sooner. Like, how was it all kept a secret? I had to do a bit of a double take when I saw that. I got fucking stun-locked for a second. Now, of course, it's no one's fault. I don't blame anyone for not knowing about Vince McMahon's past. Like, if you're not an active wrestling fan, there's a really good chance you just didn't know any of this about him. But the only secret here is that there was no secret. Everyone knew about Vince McMahon's sexual degeneracy. Vince McMahon's sexual degeneracy is about as much of a secret as smoking cigarettes being bad for your health. This fucking ghoul paid nearly $15 million in hush money to quiet 4 women who were bringing up claims of sexual misconduct against him that had occurred over a period of 16 years. And that's actually why he previously stepped down. Now, of course, he stepped back up into a prominent position with the company after the merger with the UFC, and now he is stepping down again, once again, from sexual misconduct claims. So it's just never really been a secret that this decaying corpse, this fucking revolting gremlin of a man, is a horrifying piece of shit. It's just more people are opening their eyes to Vince McMahon being this fiend. Thanks to Janelle Grant's lawsuit, really making waves and highlighting a lot of previously unknown things like the sex trafficking and some of the other names that were included here to show how deep this rabbit hole goes and how awful all of it was. Now, sexual misconduct is something Vince McMahon calls home, so this isn't his first rodeo, and he tried to cover his own ass. Not literally, because he shit on someone's head, but legally tried to cover himself by trying to pressure Grant into signing a non-disclosure agreement in exchange for payments over several years totaling $3 million after their relationship and employment ended. So he was trying to silence her, to make sure she wouldn't, blow the lid off of this. Now, I'm no lawyer, I'm no expert, but I don't think a non-disclosure agreement protects you in the case of crimes. Like, I don't think if you're sex trafficking someone, you can have all of your victims sign an NDA and then they can't speak about it, you're safe. And if they do speak about it, they're the ones in trouble. I just can't imagine a world where if Grant signs that non-disclosure agreement and then goes forward with bringing this information to light, that she would face punishment for it. Like, I can't even picture that kind of lunacy. Like, listen, ma'am, we're really sorry about that sex trafficking thing. That's bad stuff. But you violated your NDA. And breaking an NDA is so much worse. You're going to prison. You're going to the slammer for that. You don't violate the contract. It's sacred. It's binding. Like, I just don't think an NDA protects you in the case of a crime being committed. Again, I'm not an expert, though. The only NDAs I've ever signed were to play a video game early, not poop on someone's skull, among other horrible, horrible acts. Allegedly. It's fucking scary stuff what was going on behind the scenes at the WWE with Vince McMahon. The parent company has issued a bit of a statement here. The parent company is TKO Group Holdings, and they said that McMahon doesn't control TKO or oversee day-to-day operations at the WWE, and that while this matter predates our TKO executive team's tenure at the company, we take Ms. Grant's horrific allegations very seriously and are addressing this matter internally. And a spokesperson for Vince McMahon also made a statement and said that the lawsuit was replete with lies, obscene made-up instances that never occurred, and a vindictive distortion of the truth. He will vigorously defend himself. I wish he would vigorously try and dive into a wrestling ring and tear both of his quads again. This is an evil man, and he has been evil for the entire time he has been with the company. And more people are starting to see this now. He is a fucking stain in the industry. I know there is still a lot of Vince McMahon fans because they separate art from the artist. He plays a character in the WWE, the commissioner, and he has been kind of iconic in the scene. I get that. Like, there is a lot of great WWE moments that, unfortunately, Vince McMahon is there for and was a big part of. Like, he played the role well. But as a person, he is terrible and a horrible person to have at the position of power that he does in the industry. He shouldn't be in the industry. He shouldn't even be outside of a fucking jail cell for the things he's done. Like, I can't separate art from the artist when it comes to something like this. I just can't do it. I know there are people that are, and I'm not, like, mad at you for it or anything, but I can't. He is just absolute trash, scum, the lowest of the low, and I will, of course, be keeping my eyes on this lawsuit as everything continues to develop here. I just wanted to give you, like, the very bare bones of it, like the basics. There is so much to it. I urge anyone out there that's curious to take a look, but just fair warning, it is disturbing. It's very not pleasant to read. So yeah, just wanted to talk about it a bit. That's it. So yeah. I just watched an extremely interesting case presented by the Law and Crime Trial Network that I just had to share with all of you because it really feels like the plot line to a late 90s soap opera. It's got an evil wife, and let me tell you, she's a real battle axe, and she's hatched a nefarious plan to poison her husband for life insurance money, allegedly. I hate that I have to use the word here because the overwhelming amount of video evidence and everything makes it very clear that that's what was going on, but apparently you gotta say that word when talking about something like this. But anyway, that's not where the whole story stops because the husband becomes aware of it, but can't act on it right away, so has to continue to play along with the woman that's actively trying to kill him. And then when he eventually takes it to authorities, they initially don't act on it, so then he has to gather even more evidence. It's just so fucking wild, and I just have to show this to all of you, because this really does feel almost make-believe. It feels like something Darman would write if instead of making, don't judge a book by its cover videos, he made murder mysteries.
A military wife is now charged with attempted first-degree homicide. after her husband allegedly caught her on camera pouring bleach into his coffee maker. He says it was all to get life insurance benefits.
It really does make me giggle every time allegedly is thrown out in a case like this where you can actually just watch it happen on the fucking Jumbotron. And especially with this one because the husband was super thorough with all of the hidden cameras he set up. So you can get like a 360-degree video of all the poisoning attempts. You got every goddamn cinematic angle imaginable. And yet still, allegedly poisoning attempts. Again, I fully understand why they have to keep saying that word here because she hasn't been found guilty in court yet of all of the charges. But I mean, it's pretty clear. The answer to this game of Clue is Feliciano in the kitchen with the bleach and coffee maker. Like, we can tell.
The man, quote, suspected someone was tampering with his coffee, and in May 2023, while still in Germany, he set up a camera in his house. The husband alleged his wife used bleach as a form of poison, storing the chemical under the sink.
This is one of many videos that capture her pouring bleach into his coffee pot. So he became alert to something a bit off about his coffee and suspected tampering with it. And I imagine he was able to taste something was wrong immediately. Bleach is like one of the most agitating chemicals you can ever fucking ingest. Like, coffee is not going to disguise it. It's not like the perfect Trojan horse to deliver bleach into your system. You'd probably take a single sip and immediately go, pooey, yucko, wow, like, ouch. That doesn't taste like coffee, it tastes like fucking poison. You would have better luck shitting into his coffee pot and hoping he doesn't notice. There's at least a chance coffee can mask poop, but not bleach. Like, even if you have no taste buds, you would probably feel something is wrong with your coffee with bleach being mixed into it. So immediately, I imagine, he was tipped off that something was very awry here. So he set up the camera. I don't know if he immediately suspected it was his wife. Maybe he thought there was some kind of like burglar coming in to fuck with him and pour bleach into his coffee pot or something. I don't know if he immediately started to point fingers at his wife. I imagine he probably did because, I mean, who the fuck else is going to break in there and pour coffee or pour bleach into the coffee unless it's like the Tooth Fairy out for revenge or something. So I don't know how surprised he was to see that, but I still imagine that that was traumatizing to know that the person that you are married to, the person that is the most important person in your life, is actively trying to kill you.
Court documents state that at the time, during May 2023, the husband, quote, stopped drinking the coffee but continued to pretend to drink it as he did not want to make a report of this while in Germany. He said he knew his wife would continue poisoning him and wanted to submit a report while in the US.
This is such an interesting conundrum. So he didn't want to make the report while in Germany and continues to fake drink the coffee, playing a game of pretend here. And then also, I assume, pretending that everything's okay in the marriage between them, even though he knows in the back of his head, his fucking wife is trying to kill him. And his wife doesn't know that he knows, so she continues to make attempts to poison him. When I try and picture this situation in my head, I immediately just start thinking about the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but without, like, the guns. So instead of, like, dumping lead at each other, shooting at each other, it's his wife really insisting on trying the coffee. A new recipe, perhaps. So, and he's just like, oh, this is good, very good, but he knows.
1 month later, in late June, the family returned to the United States and was stationed at an Air Force base in Tucson, Arizona. At that point, additional cameras were set up. Video captures Feliciano Johnson pour something into the coffee pot and look over her shoulder to see if anyone is watching. By early July, her husband reported his findings to the Tucson Police Department.
So this ruse continued for over a month, with the husband pretending to keep drinking the coffee, giving his best Oscar-winning acting performance. Honey, this coffee is so good. Wow, delectable. Rubbing his tummy, all of that. I also can't help but wonder if he tried to, like, mess with her a little bit. Not trying to poison her, obviously, but, like, make her believe that the poison was working. Like, did he start faking a sickness or something? Did he start, making it seem as though he was falling ill in order to see how she'd respond? Like he just, puts a thermometer in his mouth and he's like looking real pale and he's like, oh, babe, I don't know what's going on. I'm not feeling too good. Making a bunch of like coughing noises to see how she reacts to it, to try and catch her with like joy in her eye that her plan is working. Or if he just simply kept drinking this or pretending to drink the coffee, and his wife must have thought that he was fucking immortal, just legitimately immune to poison. Which is a pretty scary thought and pretty concerning considering he lived with her and went through this for over a month now with someone actively trying to murder him. And if she really thought that bleach had no effect on him, like he was just built different, bleach doesn't work, I just would be worried that she'd try other things that maybe he didn't pick up on or wouldn't have picked up on if it continued, you know what I mean? But anyway, he gathered all this evidence and then he brought it to the authorities.
Showed the officers at the front desk the video, but since you could not clearly see what she was pouring into the coffee maker, the report was taken with no follow-up. At that point, he purchased additional cameras disguised as fire alarms. He set them up in the laundry room and in the kitchen area where the coffee maker was located.
So it wasn't actionable evidence because they couldn't clearly see what she was pouring into the coffee maker. So the guy says, all right, fuck it, check this out then. You need more? I got you with more. So he sets up a ton of cameras, gets every possible angle here. He's got so many cameras set up, he could probably render his whole house in VR with this kind of setup. So he's got everything covered. Now you can clearly see that she's pouring bleach into the coffee maker in certain videos. And he even goes a step further by conducting his own at-home experiments to confirm his theory.
Normal. It smells. I can smell it. I can smell it. Soapy. Tea. You're gonna see purple. Boom.
Science, bitch. Now we're Breaking Bad here. So he's got even more proof, not only with the video evidence of his wife pouring bleach into his coffee pot, but now he is confirming the presence of the bleach in the coffee pot even after having it drained all day and all of that. Now he has an overwhelming amount of proof against his wife.
Feliciano Johnson was caught on camera multiple times, appearing to pour bleach in the laundry room, walking it into the next room, and then pouring it into the coffee maker. After collecting multiple videos that showed her allegedly pouring the bleach into the machine, Feliciano Johnson was arrested on July 18th.
I'm assuming she did all of this while the husband wasn't home because she is pouring the bleach in the laundry room and walking it to the kitchen, so literally walking through the house with bleach in her hand. If the husband ever saw that, she would immediately know that he would know that something is really fucking foul going on here. Why are you transporting bleach around the house? Like, what could possibly be the excuse, you know? Oh, babe, you're home. It's great to see you. What do you mean, why is the bleach in my hand? Oh, actually, I just wanted you to just take a peek at it real quick. Just tell me, does the bleach smell weird? Splash. You know, like, there's really not a whole lot of wiggle room for an excuse on why you're transporting bleach from the laundry room to the coffee maker. So, again, I assume he just wasn't present for it. But then it makes it really interesting watching the footage here because she keeps looking over her shoulder. So it's an interesting look into the human psyche and kind of just basic human instinct, where when you're doing something fucked up, when you're doing something diabolical, for some reason, you just can't help but double check your surroundings to make sure no one's peeking in on you, even when you're completely alone. Anyway, just something I felt like pointing out. Overall, I'm happy to see the husband didn't get poisoned, and I'm happy to see she got arrested and is now facing these charges here. So hopefully justice will be served. I can't imagine a world where all of this evidence is presented and they're like, inconclusive. It's fine. You're overreacting. You're out of order, Buster. Your wife was just making you some real nice coffee with the extra flavor juice to it. So I imagine she will likely face serious time for this. I mean, it's attempted first-degree homicide, apparently. So, or allegedly, excuse me. So yeah, I just wanted to share this story because I just found it to be super fascinating. But yeah, that's about it. So yeah. On TikTok, there lives many evils, some cringe, some criminal. Just like the Force with the Jedi and the Sith, there exists a balance. And today, we're gonna tiptoe and tap dance all over that line between cringe and criminal as we look at a completely deplorable individual named Madison who hatched a diabolical scheme to fake cancer, apparently with the goal of getting her family back together. At least according to her, that's the statement she made in court as to the motive behind faking cancer. Which, if that really was the goal of it, that is a worse plan than anything Ed, Edd n Eddy ever hatched for jawbreakers back in the day. It makes no sense, but basically, she faked cancer, eventually started getting, like, public speaking gigs, I suppose. She documented her battle with it in an attempt to, like, uplift people, I suppose. She also made a GoFundMe, which collected, like, $37,000, which turns this whole thing from just a complete fabrication for the sake of attention, possibly, into a full-blown scam where she was taking money from people under a complete lie. And then, eventually, the whole house of cards came crumbling down after an investigation concluded that she made everything up. Now, I can't find the first videos she started to post about this. It only exists, from what I can find, in a Ray William Johnson video he just posted covering this, so I'm just going to show you a clip from that.
They found a mass on my pancreas, and I had stage 2 pancreatic cancer at just 19 years old.
Oh, but that's not even the worst part. She also had leukemia.
The 5-year outlook of survival is a slim 11%.
But does all this stop Madison? No way. She sees it as an opportunity to document her battle and uplift others.
What an incredibly evil thing to lie about. Now, of course, she's far from the only person on the cyberspace to lie about having cancer. In fact, there was a really recent story I just talked about like a month ago about a poker player who lied about having terminal cancer in order to raise money to enter a poker tournament. But anyway, back to Madison. So she posted a lot of update content going over what was happening, and this includes photos that she would take. Photos that she would stage, since she didn't actually have cancer. And I can't find a ton of them. The only one that I can find that was a big smoking gun is, again, from Ray William Johnson's video. So he's got, like, all of the old artifacts here to preserve the story, I guess. So I'll show you a picture of it here, which is this. And a lot of medical professionals saw this and noticed that there was some very fishy shit going on here. It was starting to raise some red flags, sound the alarm bells that, this may not be a case of her having cancer, but instead an undiagnosed case of terminal clout disease. God rest her soul. So the medical professionals pointed out a lot of things that just didn't make sense about the photo. Some inconsistencies, not even using real medical tape, just a laundry list of problems with the photo, and anonymously reported it as suspicious. It got the attention of the Eldridge Police Department, and they conducted an investigation, eventually subpoenaed for medical records from Madison, and found that she'd never been diagnosed with any kind of cancer or tumor from any medical facilities. So it turns out her cancer diagnosis is about as real as Goatman, which is to say, not real at all. Sorry to all the Goatman enthusiasts out there. I don't mean to burst your bubble. I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but it is what it is. He's not real. But what is real is this mugshot right here. Madison was arrested in January. I also didn't mention that even outside of like that one big photo that a lot of people pointed out and heavily scrutinized for inconsistencies, she was posting other photos that weren't hers, apparently. She would use photos from actual cancer patients and post them as if they were her updates, which is unbelievably evil. Like, the whole thing is so genuinely disgustingly evil, but like, to me, when I learned that portion of it, I couldn't believe just how low she sunk for this. Also, it was recommended that Madison not face prison time because she didn't have criminal history and had good grades in college, was employed, which made her less likely to reoffend. Which I think is a bunch of baloney. What a load of dirty barnacles. What do her good grades in college have to do with anything here and her ability to lie about having cancer again? No, she'll never do this again. Wait, look at her report card. She has an A in kinesiology. Obviously, she's not going to pull this stunt again. Don't be ridiculous. No prison time at all. She's learned her lesson. Just slap her on the wrist, send her home. So, someone spoke up about that. Her name is Rhonda Miles, and she runs a pancreatic cancer foundation in Nashville, and they actually donated to Madison and testified at the hearing. It was devastating to sit there and watch Scott County prosecuting attorney act like a defending attorney, so that was tough. And I think she'll have a lot of questions to answer from the locals on that at some point. Why are you defending this girl when you were supposed to be prosecuting? I couldn't agree more. This is not something that is just some whoops-a-daisy mistake kind of silly, stupid, quirky, dumb decision that a young person makes. It's not. This is a cold, calculated, evil plan that she did make like $39,000 from. I don't know why they took it so lightly here. But anyway, before I get to what her sentencing looked like, why don't I let you hear from her herself when she talked about this in court.
20-year-old Madison Russo pleaded guilty to a charge of first-degree theft after police said she pretended to have cancer and received donations online.
I didn't do this for money or greed. I didn't do this for attention. I did this in an attempt to try and get my family back together.
I saw a comment point something out pretty profoundly. It said her plan was to get the family back together, and it worked. They all came to court with her. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. She never said how the family was going to come back together, so, But I don't necessarily believe that. I feel like if the plan was to get the family back together, why the fuck are you making a GoFundMe and making money off of it, right? Plus, let's just assume that your nefarious plan you cooked up worked and your family all did come together to support you. It's absolutely going to crumble when you don't go to doctors to get your treatment, right? So if the family came together, they would immediately know that you are a lying sack of shit because you would not be going to any of these treatment facilities and they'd want to support you, right? So they would immediately know that something is wrong since you're not actually getting any treatment from any medical professionals. It doesn't make sense. So I don't think that was the real motive. That was just trying to weasel her way out of a very, very serious situation here because she scammed people out of $39,000. Now, she was ordered to repay that money that was donated to her, which is good. So all of the people who donated money, I believe, got money back for it. So it's at least a nice conclusion for them. They didn't just lose out on that forever.
The judge sentenced Russo to a suspended sentence of 10 years. That means she won't go to jail unless she gets in trouble in the future, but it will go on her record.
And basically she received probation where as long as she doesn't do anything stinky again in the next 3 years, she won't go to jail. But if she does reoffend and do something bad, then she will. Overall, I think she got off pretty easy from this. Oh, I forgot to mention she has 100 hours of community service work, which, that's not exactly the harshest punishment here to fit the crime, if you ask me. To deceive people with a lie like this here and rake in $39,000 with people that believe they're supporting a cancer patient who's going through an incredibly intense battle is so sickeningly disgusting. And I cannot believe how light the sentencing on not only her case, but cases similar to this have been in the past. Like I said, she's not the only one to do this. She's actually far from the only one to do this. But for some reason, they never actually face big repercussions for it. And I guess I just don't really understand why, because it is still a big, very lucrative scam that they're engaging in. It's highly illegal. So why is it always so light with the punishment? I don't know. Sometimes they don't even face punishment. There's been a couple of times in the past online where people have faked cancer, got a bunch of donations, and then just left, vanished. And they, come back a couple of years later, pretend it never happened, and they're just fine. And they don't get in any trouble or anything. I don't know. It's just so weird to me. But yeah, I wanted to go over this pretty evil case here of a TikToker being a big ol' sack of shit. That's about it. So yeah. I couldn't decide if this was a good idea for a video to make just because of how dark and disturbing it is, but earlier today I saw a thread on Twitter going around listing the most evil artists and musicians of all time, and absent from the list was by far the most evil singer to ever hit the mainstream, Ian Watkins. And I was just shocked that not a lot of people seem to know about this. This was a story I followed as it unfolded back in 2012 because Ian Watkins was the frontman to my favorite band when I was a kid, Lost Prophets. In fact, if there's any archaeologists watching this and want to unearth some unholy relics, if you're able to find any re-uploads of my old Gears of War montages from 2007 and 2008, you'll hear Lost Prophets music that they're set to and edited in sync with. I used their music all the time in videos growing up because I was such a massive fan, so you can imagine how fucking disgusted I was when I learned the truth behind their singer. Ian Watkins' crimes are some of the most depraved I've ever read about, and in fact, the senior investigator said it was the most disturbing child abuse evidence he had seen in nearly 30 years on the force, and it's not an exaggeration. Ian Watkins was a serial child sexual abuser and even convinced some of his fans that were mothers to give up their kids to him to abuse, and would even convince the mothers to abuse their own children on video calls that he'd masturbate to. His sex crimes spanned years and even included the sexual abuse of a 10-month-old baby and attempted rape of a baby. Not only were his crimes some of the worst you could possibly imagine, but he was blatantly open about them as well. He'd even brag about fucking kids to some of his ex-girlfriends at the time. I feel like if the police officers had just asked him, hey, are you having sex with minors? He would have hit them with a, hell yeah, brother, and then went up for a high five. The whole story of Ian Watkins and his arrest is also the story of terrible police work from the department. There were years of reports and people desperately trying to get him behind bars, and they just wouldn't look at the evidence. They refused to look at all of the overwhelming evidence that was constantly being provided to them. The reason he ended up getting arrested was on unrelated drug charges, and they just happened to find this absolute fucking mountain, like a goddamn Mordor. They wandered in there and happened to find all of this child abuse evidence, but they were there for drug reasons and continued to turn the other cheek and ignore all of the reports coming from victims or people that had already compiled evidence and submitted it to them. Now, like I said, he wasn't very secretive with what he was doing. He wasn't exactly like some kind of cunning, sly, criminal mastermind. He was very open with the fact that he was a pedophile. Just look at this excerpt here. Look at one of the passwords he'd use for his computer. Ian Watkins is a sick psychopath who's currently serving 35 years in jail, which isn't nearly enough for his crimes. And he's not remorseful about it either. Like, just read this quote here, where he said he did it for the mega-lols, talking about abusing and raping kids. So anyway, after reading that Twitter thread about evil artists and musicians, I really think it's worth talking about this guy and his history, since it seems it flew under the radar for a lot of people. So I'm just going to give a brief summary of everything Ian Watkins and Lost Prophets related. As I mentioned at the beginning, they were my favorite band when I was a kid. Before I even got into rock and metal, like with the other mainstream bands, I was listening to Lost Prophets. You know, this is way back in the day, but there was something called Pixo, which allowed you to make your own websites easily. And when I was in 4th grade, I made my own Pixo website called coldflames.pixo.com. Don't even bother searching for it. It's dead and buried 6 feet under, went straight to hell. Not even on archive.org. But on my Pixo website, the very first thing that would happen when you went there is the music video for Lost Prophets' Rooftop song would play. That's right, I was like an early adopter of the K-pop stan culture where they just spam music videos everywhere to farm views for them. That's what I did for Lost Prophets on my website. So their music video for Rooftops would play, and then if you went to any of the other links on the side, a different Lost Prophets music video would play. I don't remember everything I posted on that website. I know a lot of it was RuneScape related, like giving updates on my character. But when I was giving updates, you would always be having a Lost Prophets music video play, like Shinobi vs. Dragon Ninja or something like that. But yeah, all that to say, I was big into the band, so this shit hurt a lot learning about this. I've always had that mentality of you need to separate art from artist when it comes to things, but I've been unable to do that for this band. They were my favorite band when I was a young kid. I can't listen to them anymore after learning everything about Ian Watkins. It's impossible for me. I can't separate the art from the artist, especially considering Ian Watkins in one of their music videos even subtly hints at his crimes. In the music video for A Town Called Hypocrisy, Ian says at the end, "Hi kids, welcome to Town Time. We have an amazing show for you. You're going to learn all kinds of important lessons." And in hindsight, it's pretty clear what he was like saying here, knowing his history and what was actually going on behind the scenes. And it's so fucked up. Now let's get into the actual timeline as well as history of Ian Watkins and the band. I'm not going to be showing much footage at all here. I'm mainly just going to be telling the story. It just doesn't really sit right with me to show anything from them. Knowing what we know now about Ian Watkins, it just feels fucking weird and yucky. However, there is a great breakdown of this whole situation from a channel called Gamers Inc. And they do show footage from the band as well as interviews of Ian Watkins. And they do a great job with it, so I recommend checking that out if you're interested in seeing more from the group as well as Ian and who he was as a person. But for me, I'm not going to be showing any of it, so let's get into it. Ian Watkins was the stepson of a Baptist minister and was an honor roll student. He basically fucking straight A'd his whole career as a student, graduated with honors from the University of Wales, and then in 1997 formed the Lost Prophets. They saw moderate success with their first album called The Fake Sound of Progress, but it was in 2004 with their follow-up album, Start Something, that they really broke into the mainstream spotlight. They sold 2.5 million copies and were propelled into stardom. They had their music videos on MTV. They even had Last Train Home on the soundtrack to NFL Street, which was a great game. NFL Street had a fucking wild soundtrack, but yeah, they were there. They were everywhere. Montages, back when Halo 2 montages were just starting to get their feet, Lost Prophets really took it by storm. They were a mainstream success, pretty much overnight with Start Something. With all the success came a lot of fans, many of which were underage girls that Ian Watkins would invite backstage after gigs. And from a couple of sources I've read, there were even rumors circulating around this time from media outlets that noted that there were minors backstage at these concerts around Ian Watkins, which made them uncomfortable, but they didn't really report on it or do anything on it, so I think that's a big fucking blunder from them. That is absolutely something that I think they should have raised an eyebrow with and looked into a bit deeper, but regardless. 2004, they had Start Something, they were blowing up. Ian Watkins was already abusing his status and starting to bring underage girls backstage. Then around 2008, he started getting addicted to hard drugs like crystal meth and cocaine. There was even a Music Insider that revealed more information to the depravity that was happening behind the scenes. They really blew the lid off the case of what was exactly going on back there. One of Ian Watkins' exes gave an extremely in-depth explanation for all of the awful shit that he was doing and interested in, from child pornography to bestiality to him believing he was invincible and untouchable. Her name is Joanne, and she spent years gathering evidence against Ian Watkins in order to get the authorities to take him in, investigate, and arrest him, but was ignored at every possible turn. I think Gamers Inc. video does the best concise breakdown of the timeline here, so I'm just going to play a short clip from it before getting a little more in depth.
But did find it strange that there were so many young girls around the band that often. Joanne began receiving disturbing text messages from Watkins in 2008, following an incident in a video discovered by the police, in which the two are having sex, and Watkins is heard to tell Joanne that he can't wait to get you pregnant so they would have a child to abuse. Joanne then received a text message from Watkins in 2008, in which he bragged to Joanne that he had sex with multiple underage girls. Joanne, disgusted by this, went to the police immediately that same day, but unfortunately this would be the first of many instances in which Joanne was ignored.
It is worth noting that she did also say some horrible things to Ian. However, her side of the story is she was trying to gather as much evidence against him as possible to submit to the authorities to trap him and bring him to justice. So I think that's worth bringing up. She went to the police multiple times with her phone and laptop and asked them to look into it. Here's all the evidence, now please use it. And they never did. I don't know what their excuse was for not investigating further. Maybe because she was a sex worker for a time, so they didn't take her seriously, but they just wrote her off as an angry ex. Ian Watkins would regularly brag to her about having sex with kids. He would even send her images of actual, sexual abuse of children, and they just never took it seriously. At least, not until Ian Watkins was actually arrested, and then they launched a massive investigation and arrested Joanne for possession of those images that Ian sent her. So she got arrested for the possession of the evidence she was gathering for the authorities, who just weren't doing their job here. She was eventually cleared of these charges, but still, just an awful situation all around. He could have been stopped much, much earlier if the authorities had bothered to look into it even slightly. Because, like I said, he wasn't really hiding anything. There were a lot of rumors dating as far back to 2004 about some of the awful shit he was doing. They could have just done the bare minimum and gotten this guy way before 2012. In that time, how many more victims were there, you have to wonder. It also wasn't just Joanne that was submitting all of this evidence or making all of these claims against Ian Watkins. There were a lot of different people that came forward. For example, an Australian woman told police that Watkins was a child abuser and drug abuser. Her email even concluded saying, "Do not disregard this as it's serious. Nothing happened." There was other complaints, including intelligence reports about Watkins' drug use and sexual interest in kids that kept getting submitted to the South Wales Police Department that didn't get investigated. In March 2012, a woman even told police that Watkins may have sexually assaulted an 11-month-old boy, and then even described images that could be found on his computer if they searched. But they didn't search. Now, I'm going to look into the case just a bit, but I'm not going to go that deep because it's way too gross to talk about. It's so bad, in fact, that the judge that sentenced Ian Watkins, as well as the two mothers I mentioned at the start of the video that abused their kids for him, he said this: "Those who have appeared in these courts at the bar or on the bench over many years see and hear a large number of horrific cases. This case, however, breaks new ground. What you three did plumbed new depths of depravity." The full sentencing remarks can be found online, but I don't encourage anyone out there to read them because they will make you sick to your stomach. You will absolutely fucking puke. It'll ruin your whole day trying to read this. I'm only going to read a couple and bits and pieces of them. I can't read half of this shit. It's so fucking painful to even say. I'm only going to do a couple here, just to give you an idea of how bad this guy was. This isn't even the whole thing. So here, count 18 dates back to March 2007. You met after a Lost Prophets concert when she was a 16-year-old virgin. The prospect of taking her virginity excited you. You got her to dress in a schoolgirl's outfit and you videoed her and you having oral, vaginal, and anal sex. You asked her whether she enjoyed being your underage slut. At the end, you urinated over her face and told her to drink it. That gives you some insight into your attitude to young females at the time. Over 5 years before counts relating to count 19 dates back to August 2008. The girl was another fan, age 16. You videoed her having oral sex with you, and she is seen snorting white powder, which you told her was cocaine. This next part, I think, is going to be one of the most disturbing things you'll probably ever hear. This is in regards to the mothers, to one of them in particular. "But you were a mother. Your infant was only 10 months old. A mother naturally loves, protects, shields, nurtures, and cherishes. Your infant would have trusted you implicitly. You betrayed that trust. What did you do? You had a detailed discussion with Watkins about the sexual acts to which the two of you were going to subject your infant." That's as far as I'm going to read, because then it goes into detail about what happened with Watkins, the mother, and that baby. And there is a video of it where they are sexually abusing a 10-month-old baby. And it's described in detail in the sentencing remarks. It is horrific. And this isn't all of it. Like, these were only 3 counts that I just read to you. It goes on and on and on. I think Ian Watkins is the biggest monster to have ever existed in any capacity as a celebrity or a singer, and just one of the most depraved individuals I've ever read about. They talk about the child pornography images and videos he has with kids aged 2 to 12. It's like an endless amount of the worst things you could possibly imagine. So yeah, I think the answer to who is the most evil artist or musician of all time is Ian Watkins. There's a long list of horribly fucked up celebrities out there, and I think Ian Watkins is somewhere towards the top of that list. That's about it. So yeah. There is no documentary filmmaker on YouTube more talented than Oki. Every time he uploads, it's just like this wonderful event. So big, even my cat can't help but jump up here and watch some of his content with me. I think Oki's Weird Stories is one of the best channels on YouTube, and he recently uploaded another banger covering a story that I'm sure most people aren't familiar with. So I'm going to show you some clips from that. I am also going to put a link to his YouTube channel and Patreon in the description below. Go support him, please. I think he makes amazing content, and he's just such a great guy. He's super nice. Every time we've talked, he's been nothing but wholesome, and he's got these incredible ideas for the future of his channel, and I just can't wait to see them unfold. So definitely go check out his channel, and if you're feeling inclined to help him reach his goals, then check out his Patreon. It's all below.
Millionaire and computer hacker Daniel Beckwith had dug an elaborate network of tunnels underneath his Bethesda home because he believed North Korea was planning a nuclear attack.
What the fuck?
Body was found after.
Daniel Beckwith created a makeshift bunker and had another man help him dig tunnels underneath his Bethesda home.
He kept Askia Khafra captive there, and in 2017, that home went up in flames.
Jesus
On September
Christ,
10th, 2017, Askia Khafra died in an electrical fire while digging tunnels for a makeshift nuclear bunker underneath Daniel Beckwith's home. They struggled to navigate through Daniel Beckwith's home because of extreme amounts of debris and trash blocking the way. Before he succumbed to carbon
that
monoxide
sounds like a
poisoning,
4chan
Askia
home.
was only 2 steps away from almost certain safety, but the hoarding conditions of the home prevented him from making it out alive.
The entire situation is unresolved.
Askia Kafra.
How is it unresolved? This sounds pretty cut and dry. The dude was one of those outrageously unhinged doomsday preppers, like probably a gang stalker as well, thinking the whole world's out to get him and everything's about to end. And he must have fucking snapped and ended up killing him. How the fuck could this be an unresolved case? I mean, I guess we're just at the beginning here, so this is all just like the intro, but to me, like off rip, this sounds like a pretty classic case of someone with one of those mental illnesses just losing control and ending up killing someone.
At a young age, he displayed an aptitude.
Hold on, I want to read that. That is some Reddit shit right there. I am a genius, AMA. Just read what I wrote. Just read what I wrote. I came off as sort of cut off. I can get a bit Sheldon-y. I scored the ceiling, IQ of 160 plus, standard deviation of 15. Usually, my IQ's usually been estimated in the 170s by my psychologist. Was this on like a Rick and Morty post or something? Jesus Christ.
He was so cringe. Like he was like, "Oh, I'm just like, you know, these psycho, like smart, like serial killer type people. If I want to get into just the craziest thing I ever did, it was."
Hold on, I don't want to read this. I mean, this is the kind of guy that would get made fun of on the board. Is this posted like as satire by him? I don't think so. If he's calling into a random phone show talking about this kind of shit.
And I'm gonna use this air gun to like shoot this raccoon in a cage, and like, you know, this is crazy. Like this is like legit psycho behavior. Like
one of the
most psycho thing he ever did. Sure.
One of the biggest indicators early on that someone's going to end up as some kind of serial killer is animal abuse, like the torturing of small animals and shit. That is a phenomenon that's been studied so many times, and there is a direct correlation between hurting animals when you're young and taking that to people down the line. That is like one of the most cut and dry correlations ever.
Like he wanted to come across as this crazy psycho,
and yet for some reason it still gets
like
dismissed
genius.
pretty often by law enforcement. You guys remember what was his name? Pushin Entertainment? I forgot how to say it now. He's the guy that would torture and kill cats on YouTube. He was a 15-year-old. That kid didn't go to jail. He got investigated. He's not in jail. And it's because they don't take it seriously. It's, oh, it's a kid, you know, it doesn't matter that he was torturing and killing the cats.
He was a strange kid, and that's an understatement, but he had taken a video of himself taking a syringe and extracting synovial fluid from his knee joint, putting it into a shot glass or a small cup, and then drinking it.
Yeah, this is his computer and his work area. Yeah,
What
so
the
this is
fuck?
basically me standing in the
That's worse
doorway
than
of
Chris
my
Chan
bedroom.
taking a shot of his cum.
co-opted all of this
Police officers then searched
Damn,
Daniel's
those
room.
penis emails,
Inside,
though.
they found a rifle,
Worth it.
the hood of a fire protection suit, several lockpicks, reverse-engineered ID cards, and keyloggers. They also found a list of social security numbers belonging to faculty members and students.
It was the most filthy, disgusting room I've ever seen in my life. I mean, there was stuff everywhere.
Daniel was arrested and formally charged with 5 counts of property damage, 2 counts of computer fraud, tampering with documents, and illegally possessing a firearm. After that, Daniel took to Reddit to do an Ask Me Anything titled, I am a 22-year-old who is going to plead guilty to a felony computer hacking charge in 5 days. When someone asked, what did you do? He responded with, I launched a huge, multifaceted attack against my university for nothing but lulz, involving just about every attack
God, what
in
a
the book.
fucking
I made the
loser.
university's IT department look like damn fools.
I mean, I guess pretty epic prank. Take that, university. Peak Redditor. I mean, this is some Reddit-ass shit.
Daniel inherited $2.6 million after his mother's death. With that, he began to invest in Bitcoin, and he made a fortune. In a now deleted Reddit comment,
shit.
Daniel thanked the technology board on 4chan, G, for turning him onto Bitcoin as early as 2010. In a Reddit Ask Me Anything,
I am still so fucking mad, and I can't believe this came up in, what was it? It must have been 2012, maybe, yeah, probably 2012. I've mentioned this a million times, and I mention it every time it gets brought up. There was a post on the front page of Reddit that said, I strongly urge you to get into Bitcoin. And then another one like, Bitcoin has just hit $100. And I, as well as pretty much everyone I knew, was like, that's stupid. That's fucking dumb. It's never going over 100. It's worthless. Why would we ever do that? And I didn't put anything into it. God damn. So this was this seems about right, though. This seems like the kind of person that would actually put money into Bitcoin back then. You had to be out of your fucking mind to think it was a good idea. Jesus Christ. Just a random cringe lord loser doomer on Reddit was one person that just happened to put money into that fucking Bitcoin post. And it paid off.
I actually got a call, and it was an IRS investigator. And they were asking me about his Bitcoin account. They were basically saying that he was in possession of basically like $1.2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Around the time of the call, the Bitcoin were like $55,000 of Bitcoin. And he had $1.2 billion worth of them, like, you know, somewhere in the blockchain. That was around the time I found out that he had, he hired that kid and he died, in that tunnel. Working at his house in Bethesda.
On the site was a section dedicated to software developing and investing. One day, while watching the infamous farm bro, Martin Shkreli, live stream on the site, he first laid eyes on Daniel Beckwith. Daniel, who used the handle 3-Alarm Lamp Scooter, impressed his Kia. Not only did he seem to be friends with Martin Shkreli, but he also claimed to be a multimillionaire investor and hacker.
I still remember I never saw any of those streams, but I remember Martin Shkreli, for a brief period of time, had a whole Discord server that fucking worshipped him. Kai and I went in there one night because we were curious and just wanted to laugh at the clowns that were, for some reason, sucking the dick right off of Shkreli's body. And Martin Shkreli was sleeping on a voice call, and they were freaking out about how lucky they were to hear him sleeping. It was so unbelievably fucking pathetic. God, that whole community was awful. And when he did get arrested, I don't remember exactly what happened, but they were like, "No, this is outrageous. He didn't do anything wrong. What? Oh my God, this is blasphemous!" Fucking crying, losing their mind over it. It was a cult. Martin Shkreli's farmer bro. He's the guy that did like the 10,000% price hike on Fuck, what was it? What drug was it? I don't remember now. Insulin? Was it insulin? Yeah, I think it was insulin.
And I remember him saying that, I thought it was kind of odd. Like, oh, interesting, this guy's a bunker. What do you have a bunker for? And I remember him saying, I've been building this for a while. It's just to keep myself protected and safe in case of a nuclear war or a nuclear disaster.
With Daniel's
fucking
funding,
huge
they
red
bought
flag.
brand new tailored suits in preparation for their meeting with the Teal Fellowship manager. All they had to do was make it to the meeting on time and make a great pitch. But unfortunately, that didn't end up happening.
I don't remember how, but we somehow end up putting in the wrong address. But we end up going to the wrong location. At that point, we're just like, we're just freaking out. We don't know what to do. And we get to the meeting and we're about maybe 15 minutes late.
Why a red flag? He isn't wrong. Is that bait? Hey, excuse me. I've got to go back down to my bunker for my canned food just in case of a nuclear war breaking out real quick. Are you serious? That has to be bait. That's like actual gang stalking behavior. There's nothing wrong with being prepared. I think there's a level to it. When you're building an underground network of tunnels and a bunker because you're afraid of a nuclear war going down at any minute, that is a mental illness.
I'd literally...
Oh my God. I can't tell what's bait and what's not. I don't think that's crazy. There's nothing wrong with being generally anxious about things. I have a flying phobia. It's irrational, and I recognize that, but it's a phobia, right? I think that's totally fine to be like, I have a fear of nuclear bombs going off at some point. But then it has to be this barrier, like this filter in your mind where it's like, that is a little irrational. Maybe I shouldn't build a fucking multi-million-dollar bunker because I'm afraid of this disaster happening. And maybe I shouldn't be wearing a bulletproof vest anytime I'm out in public. It's not crazy at all. Do you go outside in a bulletproof vest every day? Might be multi-purpose bunkers. Also work for general apocalypse scenarios. What in the world is wrong with you? What do you mean? There is a problem when your entire life is revolving around a fear. So much so that you're building a bunker to avoid the imaginary boogeyman of an apocalyptic scenario unfolding where you need this bunker to be the last human being on Earth with your canned food and prepping and wearing a bulletproof vest anytime you're out in public. That's not even a hot take. That is a problem. I get shit for being afraid of going on a plane, and rightfully so. I get that it's irrational. How in the fucking world can you possibly try and justify a man spending so much on this bunker and wearing his bulletproof vest out in public, and then eventually hiring this man to dig out the underneath of his house for an underground network of tunnels because he's afraid of North Korea nuclear bombing his house? That is like schizophrenic behavior. That goes above gang stalking.
He asked me to stop the car, and he jumped out the car and went by somebody. He came home afterwards, you know. But you see, you also, as a father, you have to be careful that you run off a child permanently. Many things I told him, he would rebut it and tell me Beckwith was competent at that, Beckwith was competent at that. It was like Beckwith was a Superman. It was so...
It's crazy what you can ignore when you have that much respect for someone.
I remember definitely the first time around, I just started screaming to all the neighbors, help, help, fire, fire.
What were you thinking was going to happen to him at that point?
I was hoping he'd either run out there or he'd go out the back window.
This big window
Big
here.
window there, or the window well.
Well, this one's got bars on it.
Well, that's not the window. Yeah, that one does have bars on it on the side. I don't think he could get out there. That doesn't
He
have
put bars on his... Well, of course he put bars on his windows. He's got a fucking bunker and tunnel system.
And then there's that window well.
Nuclear war.
I thought he also could have got out there.
Of course he barred his windows.
Well, preferably, he would have just gone down into the tunnels and gone out the backyard.
Why didn't he do the obvious? Come to my voice. I am on the safe side of the basement. There's not much smoke on my side. There was a door there. He indicated that he went...
Yeah, I mean, I think this is absolutely a murder.
Wasn't it possible?
I completely agree with the dad here.
Daniel said that he tried to get inside the house to save Askia a total of 4 times, but that he was driven back by the overwhelming heat. During his attempts to enter the house, he said that he removed a propane tank, gas cans, and other combustibles.
On the way out, you told me originally that you took a couple of gas cans.
Yeah,
but I never found those.
Well, one was supposed to be in the front yard and the other was on the side.
Okay, so I didn't get that. So
somebody might have walked off with them. Jeez.
Okay.
I'm no expert here, but this looks like some absolutely fucking terrible acting that I'd see in like a bad Hulu original like The Grim Cuddy. What? Someone must have walked off with one of the gas cans that I was put in the front yard? Jeez.
He said that
I will say, and before we continue, people are asking, well, why would he kill him? Clearly this guy is unhinged. I think that much is very obvious. He's very worried that everyone's out to get him. He wears the bulletproof vest when he's out in public. He duct tapes Askia's eyes, blindfolded him to get him to the tunnels. Duct tapes his eyes so that way he's blind when he goes outside for fresh air because he's afraid Askia may turn on him at some point and tell people where his bunker is. So I think what may have happened is he got this fucked up idea that Askia was plotting to reveal his location or turn against him, and he killed him for it. That would be my guess. How in the...
I could have picked him up and taken him. I was so close.
Well...
How could anyone watch this and think for even 1 second this wasn't a murder? That is not how anyone would respond to a situation like this. No, this is like worse than YouTuber apology level acting. Naturally.
I think the screwed up part about it is even if, we got what we wanted, like if he was put away for life, that would only be a semblance of what I feel like we could consider justice because it's not going to change the fact that Askia is gone. You know,
Never does, but
we can't
at
bring
the
him.
very least, it gets this guy
He's been denied
out.
the rest of his life because of somebody else's
Then he can't do it to anyone else. Because, I mean, according so far to the story, Askia wasn't the only person, right? He mentioned, was it the Dick Rocket guy? Someone else had also worked on the tunnels. It wasn't just Askia that Beckwith had convinced to lend aid to. And then there was also the construction worker that we didn't get to hear from, but it wasn't just Askia. The unfortunate name, well, not an unfortunate name, Dick Rocket's a fucking hype name. Just unfortunate in the situation here because it's a super sad story.
Daniel, I'm gonna put a measuring cup full of money out on the front porch so we've got it on the way out, okay?
This place is so creepy, yeah. Because he was just a filthy, hoarding lunatic. So, okay, this is a misconception going on right now. He's not a billionaire. He had $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, but it doesn't seem like he ever cashed it out. So I believe, according Oki said, at the time of this, he had about 16 million in actual cash. But he had the $1 billion worth of Bitcoin somewhere that he never cashed it out. So he's not actually a billionaire if he doesn't have access to it. And it looks like he never cashed it out. But yeah, multi-millionaire. Very, very wealthy.
Right now, 2 more stories you need to know about as we head into this week. A bizarre case will finally come to an end tomorrow. Daniel Beckwith is set to be sentenced.
Now, I want to let you know,
that is great news.
Murder. The judge at the sentencing gave him 9 years. 1 less than the minimum. Gave him 9 years. And
what the fuck is the point in having a minimum sentencing when it comes to a crime? What the fuck? The reason the minimum is there is that it's not supposed to go lower. How can you just be like, yeah, I'm just going to disregard that? I don't... What? How does that make any sense? I don't think he paid off the judge. It doesn't seem like he had access to his money. That makes no fucking... It's a goddamn law. Like by giving less than the law dictated minimum, wouldn't that be breaking the law from her? What? Can that happen?
What about my feelings? Don't I matter? You know? You are praising this gentleman who did a criminal act, who 12 jurors believe committed...
Okay, how about this? Even if he didn't kill him on purpose, which I really do still feel he did... What the fuck does he offer society? He walks around in a bulletproof vest and hires people to work on an underground bunker in complete secrecy, blindfolding them, refusing to let them outside with their eyes open without giving them duct tape glasses, and just sits in his fucking hoarded, shit-stained, diaper-filled house. What is he offering to society? But he doesn't even offer money. He doesn't spend his money. Half of his money was in fucking measuring glasses. He doesn't even fucking spend it. That makes no sense. That actually makes no sense. Now I am starting to believe the conspiracy that he did somehow pay off someone somewhere. That makes no sense. No sense. Even if, again, you don't find him guilty of killing on purpose, or what was he charged with? The depraved heart manslaughter? I'm getting charges mixed up. Even if you don't find him guilty of that, saying that he has a lot to offer society, so I'm not going to give him the minimum. But he, for the last fucking 20 years, has done nothing but live in a hoarder's house and build an underground network of tunnels because he's afraid of a nuclear fallout. Jesus Christ. But I'm starting to believe more in the briberies thing. Because, again, he had tons of money. He never spent any of his money. Maybe he dumped it all at once into this.
Why was Daniel able to enter the basement several times during the fire and roam freely enough to remove gas canisters?
That's a great fucking question.
I also don't understand why Daniel told him to escape through windows, which mostly had steel bars on them.
And that's what the father
instead
mentioned.
Of directing Askia safely to one of the doors that he testified he had used repeatedly.
I don't know, it was probably like years later that it really hit me that I'm not gonna see.
What a great fucking point here. I actually didn't even think about this one. Because he did confirm he went down there multiple times. He even said he removed those gas canisters, and that's in that interview. He's like, oh, one of the gas canisters should be on the front lawn. He's like, it wasn't there. Oh, geez. I mean, maybe someone must have taken it. That is a great point. If his exit was blocked by so much hoarding debris, how the fuck could Daniel go move around in there, maneuver things, and freely just take some shit out? And again, guiding him to a window instead of just saying, hey, come with me to the door, that he is using repeatedly. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he never made me feel like I was a loner, like an outcast.
Like I said, his earnest home in a box. That box has been there for 5 years. It has not been touched. It's in the same position. We have a pit there, a kind of shrine for him, with a large photo of him in his ROTC uniform and, you know, something saying, love you to the moon and back. And there can be no closure.
No, there never is in something like that, man. Jesus Christ. Oh, wow. Yeah.
And as always, until next time.
That's all you need to know now.
Best documentary maker on YouTube, man. Oki kills it every time. If you're a fan of documentaries, absolutely go support his Patreon. Absolute bangers, nothing but. And he's a great guy. Man, that video made me mad, though. Not because of Oki. The story made me mad. That is very frustrating. What I want to talk about today is something extremely infuriating. So if you're in a good mood right now, I tell you, you better kiss that thing goodbye, because there will be no happiness left after this topic. I've talked about for a while that TikTok has rotted the minds of all of its users and convinced them that they're the main characters of the entire world, and everything that happens around them is just a prop that they can use to get views and clout on TikTok. And today I learned about an absolute piece of shit named Alex Bodger. Alex Bodger pulled a Logan Paul. You remember when Logan Paul filmed the dead body in the Japan suicide forest and tried to use it as like the subject of his video, like, whoa, that's a dead body. He killed himself. What the fuck is this? You know, like I'm still surprised Logan Paul didn't start slapping Maverick merch on the corpse. Like he was really playing into it and using it as if it was some kind of great thing for him for views as a viral video. Well, Alex Bodger took a play out of Logan Paul's playbook, but even amplified it. So, the situation was, there was an argument that happened at a Starbucks. A father had asked a stranger to stop vaping near his 3-year-old daughter. The stranger got very upset, and it escalated into a murder. He stabbed the father right in front of his daughter, and he bled out and died right there at the Starbucks. Taking the life of an innocent father all because he asked you to stop vaping for a minute is horrifying. What an unhinged, evil monster. It's such a trivial thing. Just, hey bud, can you just stop vaping for just a minute or two? Like, my daughter's right here and it's making us a bit uncomfortable. Like, that, there was just no reason this should have ever escalated at all to begin with. Dude must have been vaping stupid juice. He threw his life away as well. He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison for this murder, as he should. Just an awful and sad situation, and it really does blow my mind reading stories like this, where someone kills over something so small. Like, there was just no reason to even be upset in the first place that this guy asked you to stop vaping. What's the big fucking deal? Just stop vaping for a couple of minutes. It makes no fucking sense to me. Now, where does Alex Bodger come into play? Well, Alex Bodger was nearby and saw the scuffle starting, and he immediately started filming it and caught the stabbing, at least the last part of it. So he walked over to watch the guy bleed out, and as he's bleeding out, he just keeps saying, man just got stabbed. He's dead, bro. He's dead. And then he's getting like multiple angles, like he was trying to film a fucking 360 video of this for TikTok. He makes no attempt at all to do anything helpful to the situation, like calling authorities or anything even remotely useful to trying to help at all. It's all just about his TikTok video for him. I clearly can't show you the video, it's very bloody and very disturbing, but I'll play the audio from when he walks over, and it only gets worse from here because he continues to film and he gets more and more excited that he just filmed the man's death.
Man stabbed, bro, right here. Right here. This guy just stabbed this guy, man. This guy just stabbed him, bro. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead, bro. He's dead, bro.
After filming his passing, he then turns the camera to himself to make a, selfie vlog out of it, which is why we now have this infamous picture of Alex Bodger. He's doing, the actual Twitch pog face with the dead, bloodied body right behind him. He couldn't stop himself from smiling and pretty much giggling. He was cheering on this death like he was at a fucking sports game.
Such a chaos on yours. This motherfucker just died, bro. He just died, bro. Holy fuck.
TikTok has just created an entire generation of absolutely fucking useless losers like Alex Bodger. Does nothing to help the situation and somehow uses a tragic murder as some kind of clout goblin scheme to make a viral video out of it. Now, luckily there is still some shred of hope for at least some TikTok users, because this guy got fucking dunked on so hard he deactivated all of his shit because everyone was bullying him for being this subhuman piece of shit that he is. So that's good at least. He even went back the next day in order to smoke a cigarette where this guy had been killed. Which is some real psychopath shit. I bet this guy really thought in his little smooth brain that this instance was going to be his ticket to the big time, the big leagues, the upper echelon of TikTok fame. He would be the guy that filmed the murder, I guess.
Starbucks stabbing fam. So I'm walking down the road. I thought I see a street fight. I thought it was just a street fight, right? So I start running over there, I start videotaping.
This guy actually just looks like he's cosplaying as a generic psychopath. I don't know how to explain it, but just by taking one look at him, I know he lives alone in an apartment and abuses his pets. He addresses the viewers as the Starbucks stabbing fam. I guess that's what he's trying to call his community, or lack thereof a community. It's pretty clear that he doesn't actually think this is a serious situation at all. This video is supposed to be like his defense, his side of the story, explaining it, getting to the truth of it. You've all misunderstood me, and, that kind of deal. But it's really not that at all. And at no point does he even address why he decided not to even try and help or call authorities or anything and just sit there and film. I really thought this was just going to be a standard cookie-cutter influencer apology video, complete with the fake tears true combo, but it's something very different.
And I see some blood, and so I just thought maybe there was a bloody nose or something. My brain wasn't really allowing me to believe what just happened. And I knew he was dead, but at the same time, and so this is my first time ever experiencing this, right? So my brain's just he's dead, and so I just started screaming because I don't know what the fuck else to do. The murderer is standing right there. All that's going through my head is holy fuck, I'm standing right here screaming he's dead while the murderer is right there. What if he comes at me and fucking kills me?
Oh, brother, we got it all wrong. He was afraid, clearly. The murderer was right there, and this guy was concerned that maybe the murderer would come and kill him. He was so afraid that he stood there and continued to film the whole thing, including filming the murderer, while delivering play-by-play commentary as the father died in front of him. And then still continued to sit there filming and then turning it into a selfie vlog style where he starts pogging and laughing. It looked like he really was afraid, and now he's explained it, and now it makes sense. He was like a deer in the headlights, afraid for his own life, clearly.
But I'm in so much shock, I'm just standing there doing this. And then I had what I thought was the most controversial thought of my life, which it was controversial, where I'm gonna say Satsi Kesanias. This motherfucker. But the motherfucker just died part, that smile on my face, that was out of uncomfort. I was so uncomfortable, I didn't know what just happened. That's how I always am in uncomfortable situations. I put a little bit of a smile on my face, And
I fucking hate the way this guy talks. He is talking like he's still trying to woo TikTok girls with this shit. Absolute weirdo. He's putting that little, vocal fry in his speech, even though I know he has a lisp and is trying extremely hard to hide it here with all of this. And he's still taking trying to make these flattering angles while talking about filming this guy dying and cheering it on. I'm surprised he didn't start sticking his tongue out and biting his bottom lip, because he even did the generic and that kind of garbage. What an absolute fucking creepy douchebag. Now, for what it's worth, I know that for some people in a traumatic or scary situation, they cope with it with a smile or something. That's not what he did here. Like, that's not the same response. Not only were you laughing and smiling, you turned the whole thing into, like, a song and dance for you, for your content. You turned it into content. That's not just being uncomfortable and smiling. You literally turned the camera around to film you and the dead body like you were at a goddamn spring break concert. Like, it's not the same. Like, you can't even come close to making a convincing argument that, well, actually, I was just uncomfortable, which is why I was smiling and, started vlogging. It's how I deal with trauma.
I'm sorry for the people that it pissed off. I've been called by the homicide unit. I shared my grief. This shit, it doesn't faze me too much, only because, I've seen, I'll just say human life, to me, the way I look at it, if I don't know you, is meaningless. It's meaningless. I'm just keeping it straight up, but, yeah, he's dead. What can we do now?
What a totally normal person thing to say. Human life, to me, if I don't know you, is meaningless. Oh, that's something not, concerning to hear at all. That's not like a giant red flag. I'm also very curious where his brain was going when he said, it doesn't faze him too much because he's seen, and then he cut himself off. Also interesting that he contradicts himself, because he stated that he was, traumatized by the event, saying that every time he thinks about the situation, he gets a feeling in his chest of pure fear. But in this video, he's puffing out his chest and, fucking spreading his lats like a bat, like he's such a big, strong man that this kind of thing doesn't faze him. So that's weird. What is it? Were you fazed by it, or does it not matter to you at all? And even in this video, said he shared his grief. Well, what grief? You already said you weren't really fazed by it, and since you didn't know the guy, his life had no meaning to you. So what the fuck are you talking about? I really feel like this guy has no actual human emotion whatsoever and is trying his best to put on some kind of show to prove he does, but it's very unsuccessful. The whole thing fucking sucks. This guy is an actual piece of shit, and it infuriated me, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit. Horrible, horrible situation, and that's really about it. So yeah. I went over to my family's house for dinner a couple nights ago, and my father was raving and couldn't stop talking about a case I'd never heard of that apparently is just wrapped up. The Alex Murdaugh murder case. And in fact, it extends beyond that. The entire Murdaugh family murders. This is a very high-profile case that I just hadn't heard of until my father started lecturing me on it like I had just taken a criminology course. He apparently followed every single piece of evidence that dropped. He watched every trial, everything. My dad studied the tits off of this case like he was going there to prosecute Alex Murdaugh himself. And it piqued my interest. It made me want to learn more about it. So I went to the best goddamn channel on YouTube for things like this, Legal Eagle. Legal Eagle recently made a full, beautiful breakdown going over every single piece of evidence and every single key point in the entire Murdaugh history. So I'm going to put a link to that in the description, but I just kind of wanted to share it with all of you because this is one of the more deep and disturbing cases I've learned about in quite a while. So I just wanted to share kind of the gist of it with all of you, but I highly recommend watching Legal Eagle's video on it if you want to learn the most about it and see how everything unfolded. You see the Murdaugh murders. So my dad just told me about that. I didn't know anything about it. And he was apparently embezzling money for a long time, a pathological liar, an oxy addict, and he snapped and killed his son and wife. My dad was telling me all about it, apparently. Or, not apparently, my dad was telling me all about it. Apparently, it was a wild case, and I didn't hear shit about it. Yeah, apparently the prosecutors had a video that the son had recorded that proved that Alex Murdaugh was lying about his whereabouts on the night of the murders. So I guess the story was they were killed at the dog kennels on their property. Alex Murdaugh claimed that he wasn't there that night at the kennels, and he had a couple alibis because they had his whole phone record. Apparently he called a ton of people to try and get a couple alibis. And eventually the prosecutors showed a video that his son had recorded literally minutes before he was murdered. His son he killed also got in a boat accident that killed a girl named Mallory Beach. and also was the only witness to his housekeeper dying, and he embezzled her life insurance. Oh, what the fuck?
Close. Los Angeles area double murder expert O.J. Simpson predicted that the Alec Murdaugh jury would acquit the Low Country lawyer of double murder. It turns out that Simpson's powers of prognostication don't really work for murders he wasn't directly involved in.
It wouldn't surprise me in the least if this guy beats this case.
So before I explain...
It's crazy. It is crazy. We have O.J. Simpson on Twitter dropping reaction videos, giving his opinion on how another murderer could potentially beat their case. That blows my mind.
Randolph Murdaugh Sr. was elected solicitor in 1920 and served until he was killed by a freight train in 1940.
Sounds like a murder. That sounds like an actual old western murder where they tied him to the train tracks. Don't know the situation, it literally just sounds like he was murdered.
Now, some people suspected that the freight train incident was a suicide because no one could figure out why Randolph's car stalled on the tracks. But Murdaugh Sr. was succeeded by his son, Randolph Murdaugh Jr., known as Buster, who held the position for 46 years
from
nickname. 1942. On two separate occasions, 20 years apart, he told jurors that if they didn't impose the death penalty on a criminal defendant, he would use his power as solicitor to release other rapists into the community. Yes, you heard that right.
What?
It's hard to imagine a worse thing a prosecutor could say in court, but I'm sure prosecutors have.
And he got to keep the position? He would make these threats like, okay, if he doesn't get the death penalty, 5 rapists will go into Gotham. He sounds like the Joker. What? Elected official, so he just campaigns and pays off the right people? Yeah, but I'm sure there's still systems in place where if you're threatening to release rapists out of like a grudge, you can get fired. Like you can get like taken out. Like you lose your position, I would think. Because it was the 70s. It's not like rape was cool in the 70s either. I'm sure people weren't like rallying behind him like, yeah, that's fucking Buster right there. That's how Buster plays. Give the death penalty. Or 50 rapists. Buster, release 50 rapists into the neighborhood. The guy really had rapists in the queue to join the server. Oh, you're talking about Buster still, yeah. I'm just going to take a guess that the other Murdaughs didn't use the same tactic.
Alex Murdaugh, the now convicted murderer, is Randolph III's son.
All of this information is to show you that the entire Murdaugh line is fucking evil, basically. Now that you're brought up to speed on where Alex Murdaugh comes from, let's talk about his kids, because his kids are no saints. Legal Eagle goes into more detail surrounding some of these cases, but I'd just like to give you a quick breakdown. If you want more information, obviously watch his video on it. But one of Alex's sons, Buster, who is named after, of course, Buster Murdaugh, who came before him, is actually a person of interest in a 2015 death. A young man named Stephen Smith was found dumped on a Hampton County road. There wasn't a whole lot of indicators to suggest that this was a vehicle crash, and in fact was even ruled a homicide by a couple of people, most notably the county coroner. And interestingly, Buster Murdaugh is mentioned dozens of times in the investigation. Also, Alex Murdaugh and his brother Randy visited the crime scene, passing through the crime scene tape, and there were rumors that Buster Murdaugh and Stephen Smith were in some kind of relationship, and this case actually just got reopened after the entire Alex Murdaugh investigation. So that's all a bit peculiar. That doesn't seem good. Something smells very fishy over there with Buster Murdaugh. And he's not the only one. In fact, Alex Murdaugh's other son, Paul. In 2019, Paul and his friends were partying on a boat. At one point, his friends say Paul and his girlfriend got in an argument where Paul assaulted her, and then eventually the night culminated with the boat crashing, everyone surviving except one person, Mallory Beach. Paul was blamed for the death because he was fucking driving the boat. He received 2 charges, 1, boating under the influence causing great bodily harm, and 1, boating under the influence causing death. So as you can see, the Murdaugh family is known for more than just financial crimes. There's a lot of death linked to the family as well. And there's still more. There's still one that I haven't even talked about, one that happened before Alex Murdaugh killed his son and wife. In 2018, their housekeeper Gloria Satterfield allegedly tripped over one of their dogs and fell down the stairs and died at their hunting lodge. Alex Murdaugh then instructed Gloria Satterfield's sons to sue him for insurance money. However, he neglected to inform them that he had already collected on 2 settlements and basically robbed them of about $4.3 million from the insurance here. The man is just pure evil, just a shriveled, pruny, fucking ghost-looking motherfucker whose entire bloodline seems cursed and is nothing but bad news. It is disgusting.
His lawyer said he planned to sue Alex and Maggie personally, because they allegedly kept a beer refrigerator at the hunting lodge and underage kids were free to drink up. Given the scale of Alex's financial crimes, discovery of his assets would have revealed years of Murdaugh's criminality. Later that same night, Alex allegedly found Paul and Maggie dead outside the kennels at the Murdaugh's sprawling hunting estate.
I'm really trying to break this down into the most concise form possible just to convey like the general story of the situation, but again, I can't recommend checking out Legal Eagle's full video on it for the absolute best breakdown. In a nutshell, years and years and millions upon millions of dollars of stolen money and financial crimes were about to be brought to light, all of which Alex Murdaugh was panicked about. So, the main theory behind his motive for killing Paul and his wife Maggie is he needed some way of buying time to weasel his way out of this situation. I shit you not. The murder of his son, Paul, and wife Maggie, right now the leading theory is he did it for sympathy, to portray himself as a victim, and to basically just buy himself some extra time to get out of the situation because all of these financial crimes that have built up over years were about to be fucking blasted publicly. All of it was going to come to light. So that was his plan. Now, Paul was murdered before he ever stood trial for the death of Mallory Beach. But I'm getting a little ahead of the story because there was one other baffling situation that occurred involving a hired hitman that Alex himself hired to shoot and kill him so his other son could get his insurance money.
So Alex admitted to stealing from Chris and blamed his behavior on an opioid addiction. And then hours later, that same day after that conversation with Chris, Alex was shot in the head. Yes. Seriously. Is this like a far-fetched Netflix series yet?
So, now we're at the part that I know. Everything that preceded this, fucking wild. No clue. But now we're getting into the part that my dad was talking about, and now I'm kind of in the know on where all this goes. Chat just educated me about this, so I have the spoilers here. But I guess I won't drop the spoilers. But I see now what has happened and how things have got to this point.
Yes, but I mean, I'm okay.
Alex later admitted that he hired his cousin Eddie to shoot him. So Alex's remaining son Buster could get the life insurance. $10 million life insurance policy. But apparently cousin Eddie wasn't up to the job because the gunshot wound was
National
just
Lampoon
that temporarily blinded Alex. Eddie would also turn out to be Alex's oxycodone dealer. Alex later admitted that he stole from his law partners and clients to fund his addiction to painkillers.
Hold on, then my dad's calling me about the Murdaugh shit that I just sent him with this. Hold on. Yeah, well, did you even know about all of the Murdaugh shit with his family? Like how his son is most likely responsible for deaths as well?
Yes.
And
his son that, like, was in the boat accident.
Yeah, the boat.
Yeah, the whole deal. I mean, yeah, I know all the background of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then how he tried to set up, like, his own...
Yeah, I just got to that point. Cousin Eddie to, like, a hitman to shoot him for the life insurance policy for Buster.
Yeah, and then they fucked that whole thing up.
Okay, I didn't know if you knew any of that because you didn't mention it. That shit's crazy.
Well, see, that's why I haven't been playing any games. I got so into this shit. I'm like, I can't stop. It's like, see, that's why I said this is 10 times better than the goddamn O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely wild. I had no idea it was like so deep reaching.
I know, see, that's what I'm telling you. So you think it's pretty cool, right?
Well, cool is like probably a weird word to use for it, but like it's fascinating. Like it feels like it's some kind of crazy movie. Yeah, he's really into the whole Murdoch shit. He got like encyclopedic knowledge on this whole thing apparently. He didn't even mention the family stuff, so I thought that'd be news to him. Yeah, no, this whole family's rotten. Although I haven't heard anything about the mother, so maybe she didn't do anything terrible. I have no idea.
For violent schemes.
Real quick though, was his plan actually to die? Like, did Alex Murdaugh hire cousin Eddie, goofball McGee, red-blooded patriot, fucking wild maniac to come shoot him and kill him? That's wild. So his plan was actually to die. He said, come shoot me in the head. And then he survived. He's like, damn it. Time to change plan. Wow. Hey, a lot of things can be said about Alex Murdaugh, but God damn it, he gave it 110%. This man was ready to literally kill himself so that way his son could still have some fucking cheated funds. $10 million life insurance policy.
The drug dealer. The trial's biggest bombshell was an unsent Snapchat
Yes,
video.
this is the one that my dad was talking about.
Alex told police he had last seen his son and wife 90 minutes before he found their bodies. Several witnesses testified that they could hear Alex's voice in the background of the video.
Hey, he's got a bird in his mouth.
Come here. Did the Snapchat video influence Alex's decision to testify on his own behalf? Almost certainly yes. The very first
yeah, and I think that is very clearly his voice in the Snapchat video. Very clearly.
Alex did on the witness stand was fess up that he lied about being at the kennels. Alex admitted it was his voice on the video.
Were you in fact at the kennels at 8:44 p.m. on the night Maggie and Paul were murdered?
I was.
Did you?
So then he absolutely just admits to a lie right there. I do want to point out, this man's got some wild hair coloration here. This looks like a weird slider in a Dark Souls creator. He looks like a French fry with like some cheese sauce on the top. That shit is going hard.
You lied to SLED Agent Owen and Deputy Laura Rutland on the night of June 7th.
I did lie to them, and I'm so sorry that I did.
Other than lying to them about going to the kennel, I was very
Holy
cooperative
shit.
in every aspect of this investigation. When Alex's brother Randy overheard Alex trying to bribe a nurse to let him use her phone, he thought it was suspicious. And brother Randy called the police and the story began to unravel.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
SLED sketch artist and spent...
Man, this guy just straight up looks evil. He looks actually soulless. Those are some hollow, empty devil eyes right there. 100%. Sometimes people just look the part.
But in an earlier interview with investigators, Alex had actually implicated his groundskeeper. He also told the jury that someone angry about the death of Mallory Beach committed the murders. These inconsistencies undermined Alex's credibility. Then there's the mess with Alex's financial crimes. The prosecution argued that Alex's financial crimes couldn't be separated from the murders because exposure of his vast financial crimes was one of the motives
speaks to his
for killing
characters.
Maggie and Paul.
Well, not only that, I imagine that also helps to demonstrate, make a character profile, right? I don't know if that is actually something that's usable in court, but doesn't that also serve to poke holes in the credibility since all of these financial crimes hinged on a bunch of lies and embezzlement and all of that? Or is that not allowed?
Every single one of these, you had to sit down and look someone in the eye and convince them that you were on their side when you were not.
Wow, that's hardball.
Do you remember it, even one of them?
If you ask me questions, but I can't remember sitting down with Dion.
Alex's response? What I admit is I misled them. I did wrong, and that I stole their money. What Prosecutor Waters was getting at was this. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Alex Murdaugh is sitting there and looking at you and trying to convince you of something, but you shouldn't believe him. Just look at how he lied in the past.
That's
Moreover,
strong
Alex
as fuck.
testified that all of his financial bad deeds were caused by his drug habit, which was costing him as much as $60,000 a week. As for the weapons, prosecutors said casings for bullets from a .300 blackout rifle were found near Maggie's body. And the Murdochs owned a rifle chambered in .300 blackout, and the weapon is now missing. Alex also couldn't account for the clothing he was wearing on the day of the murders. His clothes had never been found. His mother's caregiver testified that after the murders, Alex tried to remind her about what he was wearing.
I guess it's easy in hindsight, but I feel like even if I was in the court as this was unfolding, the second it came to that point, both of those in conjunction, I'd be like, well, he fucking did it. What kind of coincidence is that? Oh, so they were killed with .300 blackout rounds. Oh, you have a weapon with .300 blackout. That's a weird coincidence. Can you bring it in so we can just make sure like everything's, all good? Oh, it's missing. Well, what happened to it? Oh, you don't know. Oh. Okay, well, what about your clothes? Can we, like the clothes you were wearing on that night, maybe they picked up some forensic evidence from the real killers. Oh, you lost your clothes. Are you telling me a burglar came in the middle of the night while you were sleeping and took the fucking clothes off your back? Even your dirty goddamn undies, he took them? Oh. Like, what the fuck? This is outrageous.
The speed of the jury's verdict, just 3 hours of deliberation after a trial lasting a month and a half.
That's a gold split.
Speaks volumes.
Yeah.
The day after the verdict was read, Alex Murdaugh was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences for murdering his wife and son.
Boy, oh boy, do I have some good news for you today. It's time for a little holly jolly celebration because Santa Claus came early with the gifts. This loser has finally been arrested. Now, I'm sure none of you recognize this guy. This is probably not a face any of you have seen unless you're a woman in New York, and in that case, this is probably a face that you swiped left on Tinder for. But this is the face of the man known as Penguinz0, the infamous street racer who's blown up on Instagram and YouTube over the last few months. This isn't like a really stunning revelation, he just looks like a normal asshole. It's not like some kind of big twist like it's Bruce Wayne behind the Batman mask or anything. But I actually recently talked about Squeeze because he went on Neon's stream and did his street racing stunt maneuvers and ended up getting in a hit and run live on Kick. So of course I was making fun of him and tossing tomatoes, shouting boo. I think it is so incredibly lame to do the kind of shit that Penguinz0 was, where he'd just go out on public roads and put everyone's lives in danger around him, just driving fast and recklessly for his content. And this is a criminal who is addicted to attention, which has to be the worst combination for a human being ever. If you are a criminal, the last thing that you would want is a lot of eyes on you. But this guy, Jiminy Christmas, he was absorbing it like a sponge in a sink. This guy was more addicted to attention than a heroin addict is to the needle. This guy couldn't get enough of it, so he took every opportunity imaginable to promote himself. So this was always inevitable. He was either going to get arrested or get himself or someone else killed. Luckily, he was arrested before the second thing happened. Now, before really diving into the weeds of the arrest here and everything around it, I want to show you a little bit more of the lore to Squeeze, so you can get a big taste of the cringe that is Penguinz0.
You mix danger, but there's also other people at risk when you do that. Innocent civilians. So what do you think about the element of danger for that?
I've been doing this since real shit since I was 9. I used to take my dad's car out and I used to just bug out. I've been doing this for so long now that I feel like I did as a professional.
This guy must have found a moron potion at some point in his life and he has not been able to break the curse. The effects still linger. He did an interview with Tommy G, a very popular video, over 8 million views here, where he's revealing some pretty sensitive information really, all while acknowledging that he's one of the most wanted people in the area by the authorities. How stupid can you be? He's going on a press tour here to promote himself while actively engaging in illegal activity and putting himself in as many places as possible, giving authorities all the evidence they could ever require. He also has the gall to call himself a professional. He is a talented driver, no doubt, but the only thing he's a professional at is not dying. That's it. He's going out there and gambling with everyone's lives and his own, and nothing beyond that. He's not a professional at anything, he's just currently surviving. Is all.
That's how I drive. There's been incidents where I've gone out with people and they tried keeping up with me and they've crashed.
How fast do you go?
I mean, there's been a video on live where I've gone one-handed 210 miles an hour.
Filming with one hand, driving with the other 210 miles an hour.
Yes.
That's insane. Did that scare you?
Not really, just to build up a tolerance of just speed.
Do you feel like the police watch your Instagram?
100%, they do.
Let's pop in the...
100% they do, which is why I'm doing all of these interviews to help them in their pursuit. It reminds me of this classic story where the police put out a post on Facebook asking for information about a woman who was an accessory to a murder. And the woman they were looking for actually commented on the post asking about the reward money that was being offered. And so they were able to find her because of that. Squeeze and that lady are two sides of the same coin. Just pure degenerate dummy. Anyway, though, he's finally been arrested after an incident that happened back in April where Squeeze allegedly made an illegal turn and proceeded to elude the police at high speeds. Then officers found videos of him committing various traffic violations throughout the tri-state area. Apparently the NYPD did a little fusion dance and a fist bump with another department, and they worked together and found Squeeze because he was wanted on other charges, including burglary, theft, conspiracy, and more. I was reading a couple of other reports where he allegedly punched a 20-year-old man in a deli. So I'm not exactly sure what all went down there, but ultimately it ended with him getting arrested and the NYPD commissioner taking a victory lap here and dunking on him on Twitter by saying Squeeze Binz is in custody thanks to New York's finest. And then he posted a picture of his Instagram with the word apprehended slapped across it there, as if it's some kind of like busted thing in Grand Theft Auto. So Antonio going from Squeeze Binz to Squeeze Minz here, being shoulder to shoulder squeezed into a cell with other dudes, hopefully. But there's no telling if he's actually going to face real prison time. It seems he's been released because after all of this, he did make an Instagram post about how he can't go live on there. So then he made a Twitch account, which I can't find. I do see a Squeeze Binz account there, but there's nothing on it, and I think that's just an impersonator trying to capitalize off of this. His original Instagram account appears to be banned, and the only one I can find is another one that appears to be an impersonator, but maybe it really is him. I have no fucking clue. I also can't help but giggle that he decided to make a Twitch account instead of a Kick account. Like, not even this blatant criminal who has already broadcast crimes on Kick wants to make an account over there and stream on purpose. He still decided to go to Twitch first and foremost. That's kind of crazy to me because Kick is the home of broadcasting illegal activity. They don't do shit about it there. They give you like a subtle thumbs up because it's driving more traffic to their site. That should be home turf for Antonio here. Squeeze Binz would be hoisted on their shoulders like a golden goose. And yet he still said, ew, I'll just go to Twitch instead. That boggles my mind a little bit. I did laugh when I read that he made a Twitch account. I wish they'd make an example out of him here. He's not like the only one doing this kind of content, the lone alpha wolf or anything here. This is a pretty popular niche of content online where people will just put on a helmet or wear some kind of mask and then just commit crimes. And like, taunt authorities driving around recklessly, endangering a bunch of innocent people's lives on the road for content and views on Instagram and YouTube and shit. He is far from the only one doing this. So I think if they would actually give a fuck here and pursue real serious charges and actual repercussions for his actions, it could help to dissuade others from pursuing this. At least I would hope. I would really like them to not play softball here and actually do something about this. He has been caught. Hand in the cookie jar here. He has all of this evidence that he himself has compiled about his crimes and how he's not remorseful and will always continue to do it, most likely. Why the fuck would you just give him a slap on the wrist? It's also more than the dangerous driving. He apparently beats people in delis, at least according to some of the reports here. Like, this is not someone that they should just be playing like patty cake with here and saying, hey, don't do it again. All right, now get out of here. Come on, scram. Like, this is something that they should be taking far, far more seriously. I really hope that his release is a temporary thing as they build up a meteor case against him, so that way he'll actually get thrown in the slammer. There's just no excuse for it at all. Just going onto public roads and compromising everyone's safety for your content, I just think it truly super sucks. And I think the fans of this kind of content are extraordinarily annoying. So there are still like Squeeze Binz enthusiasts that are losing sleep over this, thinking that he's done nothing wrong. Nobody got hurt, even though in his interview with Tommy G, he says that people have tried to emulate him and they have crashed. So people have literally gotten hurt. He also did get involved in a hit and run on stream, but whatever, I suppose. Just go ahead and ignore reality here and continue to live in fucking delusional Narnia land. But, you know, hey, they're Squeeze Binz guys. Of course they wear diapers and eat glue. Is what it is, I guess. But I'm just super happy that he's finally been arrested, and I can only hope that they do throw the book at him. So yeah, anyway, that's really about it. See ya.
going to be visiting the dark web version of the Internet's Strangest Websites. This is the final and technically fourth part
Let's
of the
go,
series, so I made
dark
a playlist you can
web.
check out at the top right of the screen if you want to
I've
watch all the
seen that
episodes.
movie.
For my safety
Unfriended.
and yours, I will not be sharing the links. Go watch the other parts of this series. Anyway, in case you guys don't know about the dark web, you can only access it using Tor web browser, not Google Chrome, not Firefox, not Internet Explorer. I don't know why you would use that anyway. This allows you to go into
Well, it's not called
websites
Internet
that
Explorer now, it's Edge.
The websites usually consist of random numbers. In the last video, we covered the basics, and this time I just decided
Tor was made by the CIA.
and clicking. So what you
Is that true? I remember that rumor floating around back when I was learning what the dark and deep web and shit was. Was Tor actually made by the CIA? It was made by the Navy. Oh, we're getting... Oh, there's like a fucking civil war in the chat. Was it the Navy or the CIA? On Tuesday, the CIA announced its own Tor Onion service. So the CIA, I guess, is getting into the dark web space. What are they, like, releasing dark web NFTs? I don't know. This is a weird announcement from 2019. The United States Naval Research Laboratory. I'm assuming it's just the first thing that popped up. Yeah, it looks like it was the Navy. So besides like arms purchasing and like illegal shit, what is the point of the dark web? Like, I can't imagine people are accessing the dark web going through Tor to look up like video game walkthroughs. That seems like there's no way that happens on the dark web. Who's going on the dark web like, bruh, I'm really looking to buy some crocodile. Oh, someone's selling. All right, here's my credit card info. No one's typing that shit in on the dark web. No fucking chance. No one's dumb enough to do that, right? College kids? Nah, I don't believe that for even a second. Nobody would. They're absolutely using like Monero or some kind of crypto or something. They're not going to be using like their actual just fucking Visa card.
Revenge. Now you might be saying, we already covered revenge in the last video. Yes, but those websites were taken down. Won't be sharing the name of the website, but I'll show you guys the layout. So right out of the gate, you're given a list of female names to browse through. If you click on a name...
This used to exist on the surface web for what it's worth. Tuv even covered it once. There used to be a website that was all for revenge porn, and eventually the guy who ran it faced, how many years in jail? I don't remember how many, but yeah, he got fucking blasted. But this was something back in the early internet days that it existed just on, you know, you could go on AOL and just look at revenge porn. It was fucking crazy. He got 18 years? Was it 18 years? You might be right.
There are two options. The lifetime basic.
Yeah, see,
and a
buy with
lifetime
Bitcoin.
premium.
You're not typing in
Lifetime
credit
basic
card
costs
info.
$150 and includes lifetime membership, daily updates, 101 gigabytes in leaked amateur content, which is 69,300
Jesus
photos,
Christ.
3,405 video, plus a VIP section, an IP cam section, spy cam
What?
recordings, NAS Synology section, and unsorted content, which apparently they have 10 terabytes worth of. So yeah, the IP cam
Holy
section, it's
shit.
like, dude, I feel so bad for the girls that don't even know their laptop is hacked and people are just watching them. Random people are just watching them.
That's another crazy thing. Do you guys remember that back in early internet days? There was a time, I don't remember if it was Macs, but there was some laptop that shipped with a webcam built in, and it was extremely easy to access. So easy, in fact, there was a website set up on Surface Web where it would just be like a roulette. You just click a button and it'd take you to some random guy's webcam. You could just watch them living their lives. Was it Dell? It might have been Dell. Yeah, so you just have this roulette of just watching people's lives through their webcam. They had no idea. It was fucking wild. It was wild. So then, like, it was such a big deal that eventually the experts were like, if you own this laptop, just put a piece of tape over the webcam. Otherwise, you are most likely being watched.
You exist. But I just want to let you guys know that. And I'll provide some Amazon links in case you guys want to buy some webcam covers. Disgusting fantasies.
You don't want to look at my webcam? Yeah, like... It's just one of those fucking creepy things, man. I don't think looking through those webcams ever really, like, nothing like crazy ever happens, but it's still just fucking scary to think about.
If you are not of legal age, or if this type of material is not legal in your jurisdiction, do not enter. This site contains absolutely no videos, photos, 3D rendered art, or other illustrations of or adults. If you're looking for any of that, you're in the wrong place. It's basically saying, we have a bunch of these, like...
Shit's like a Tumblr blog.
About
the fuck?
Not only that, but they have 2 pedophilic prevention campaign advertisements to deter the users from doing anything in real life. They're obviously only doing this so it seems like, hey, we're actually the good guys. We're preventing this stuff from happening in real life, when in reality they're just providing the acceptance, normalization, and culture of files.
That is something that is, I've seen this on Twitter. There's a verified account couple 100,000 followers from what I recall. They have this belief that if we could just use AI to generate fake children for porn, it would solve pedophiles. There is a group of people that genuinely believe that providing like more child porn but without real people, that it would somehow get rid of like pedophiles. It is the most ass backwards idea ever. It's fucking disgusting. They've made this post like, this is where I think deepfakes need to go. We need to create deepfakes of children in pornographic settings, so that way people would no longer be incentivized to use real children in child porn. It blew my fucking mind, and there are people supporting that. Like, all that does is provide more child porn for pedophiles and make the market even bigger for people to fucking film that shit in the real world. It's crazy. It's crazy. Twitter is just the most outrageous wasteland of horrible ideas. That's what this just reminded me of. I think it was actually Mudahar who commented on that. I don't remember what the account was that was talking about it. I know they deleted it shortly thereafter.
Minor, and it's still illegal to have on your device. Take Lolly, for example. Even though they're just drawings, you can be arrested and charged with a crime if you possess lolicon in any form. Other countries have also...
Oh, wait, let me read that. I didn't know that. Is that real? You can actually get arrested for Lolly? So what is Twitter talking about then where it's like, it's not illegal? In fact, Lolly is something to be celebrated.
So enacted laws making Lolly... We offer the best collection of real snuff and authentic R-word pictures and video clips.
Jesus
Thousands
Christ.
of photos, videos, comics, and books. Join us for your very special never forget experience. For a small one-time fee, you have unlimited access forever. We add always new forbidden content, completely safe and anonymous.
Jesus.
The document. The stuff on that document is absolutely fucking insane.
Thanks,
the worst part
devs.
is that they provide image proof. So, they provide image proof by using these web links. Everything that I'm about to say is real.
They use Reddit?
They provide some video proof too. I did check out some of them, and oh my god, I never want to go back. Like, deadass, I never want to fucking go back. I never want to see those images again, but it is real. I'm letting you guys know. This shit is real. Let's go over the document. I was actually kind of stupid and I downloaded the fucking text document. I don't know why I downloaded it. I downloaded something from the dark web. It's on my computer now. It's just a doc.
It's like a J-Station video. I downloaded some shit from the dark web. Now all of a sudden I'm an 8-foot smurf. I accidentally drank the Amogus potion at 3 a.m. from the dark web. Jesus Christ, tough.
Yeah. So the first thing they're claiming to sell are guns. We have sniper rifles, Mossberg 500, TOZ rifles, Kalashnikov rifles. I've never heard of that. But it says made in Russia, not China, from the other video. So let's just go into something shocking. This one, bro, this is what really got me. Video filmed according to your script with torture, R-word, snuff, etc. We need from you how many actors will be, race, gender, and your script/scenario. I can't believe
Jesus
Christ.
Christ.
The youngest actor we had, 4 days after she is born. The oldest actor we had, 93-year-old woman.
Holy
I'm assuming
fuck.
it's kidnapped people, blended up babies in smoothies. A classic smoothie is a drink made from pure raw fruit and or vegetables using a blender. Classic smoothie is a healthy type of
fucking
cocktail
shot.
that you can drink for breakfast or a bit later. But we have a special smoothie. It's made from newborns. We place in blender the newborn with or without legs/hands.
Nah,
/head
that
at your
no
request,
fucking
and
shot.
blend until the mixture is sourced smoothies from newborns strictly in the refrigerator or cool place.
That one seems very
you can
fake.
Also buy male and female genitalia, just like they're obviously
I don't know about that one. That one doesn't seem like a real
Safe
thing.
and secure container will be transferred and marked as for medical school. So they got their own methods to.
That's CIA bait.
Legit.
Yeah, it definitely seems like
amphetamine,
bait.
cocaine, and why does that even matter? What? By reading the names, I recognize some of them. It's extremely fucking illegal. They're also selling the Logan Paul video. You guys know which one, which is a complete shock to me. It was like a YouTuber on this list. What was going on? But you know what Logan Paul video I'm talking about.
Can't you just find that on archive.org?
60 FPS. Here's
Why would you
video
buy
called
that
Penis
on the
Out
dark
Through
web?
Meat Grinder.
Pretty sure it's on
For that one, I actually
archive.org.
did check out their image proof and like
It makes you tier 1 Ash.
And you guys don't worry about my mental health. A lot of people comment like, I hope your mental health is good. It's good, bruh. I'm gonna go play GTA after this, right? But thank you guys so much for just
Yeah, it's the
supporting.
Logan Paul Forest
honestly,
video.
It's a blessing.
I'm pretty sure it's on
blessing.
archive.org.
You guys, like, don't worry about me. Go on with your life. And I'll see you guys. Actually, leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you guys next time I upload.
Nice. So besides like illegal shit, is there any reason to go on the dark web? I know Mudahar's made a few videos on like other things besides like the worst shit on there, but what else is there? besides just a bunch of illegal shit. To get around taxes, like there's like accountants on there. You could charge for like services to evade taxes or something. That's more just illegal shit though. I'm saying like besides all illegal shit, people just go there to hang out sometimes. Oh, well, if it was made by the Navy, then why the hell was it made and has a bunch of illegal stuff on it? Well, the reason it has a bunch of illegal stuff on it is because the anonymity. That's like the whole point of the dark and deep web. As for why it was made, that I don't really know. It's probably to get around like surveillance or something maybe, and I'm just spitballing. He's a tier 1 poopy ranger. Let's see what crimes were caught on Twitch. Off the top of my head, can I think of any crimes? Turkey, the Turkish community on Twitch was recently just caught in a massive scandal of money laundering through Twitch bits and donations. That's probably on here. What else? CSGO Lotto? Would that be on here, you think?
Twitch started off as just
Prime
TV.
Raptor.
A man strapped the camera to his head and would live stream everything that happened to him 24/7. Eventually, the site grew and welcomed people from all over the world to
I
live
used to stream on
The
Justin
company had a
TV.
name change, which we now know as Twitch, and in 2014 was bought out by Amazon for $970 million. The first thing I want to do is talk about the horrible Twitch staff. Now, it's very known that Twitch has some, let's say, biased staff. Every other month, it seems like a female streamer gets banned and then unbanned within the same week, whereas a male streamer can get banned for the same thing, if not something less harmful, and end up getting permanently banned. This has been proven time and time again, with the most recent case being about Narcissa Wright, a Twitch streamer that literally tweeted out, "I want to kill myself and shoot people at Twitch headquarters."
That story is very sad, honestly.
Who was banned, and then what do you know? Unbanned a few days later. I mean, if you ask me, that should have been a permanent ban, but no. We see in this tweet here that they're reducing her ban, and basically, you know, she got unbanned, is what I'm trying to say.
Point is, Twitch, I see where your bans come, I see where they come from, but it's like, to me, it's just like, this situation, shoot people at the Twitch headquarters?
Should be a permanent ban. Now, why? Are the Twitch staff just full of simps? Yeah. And in all honesty, it does seem like Twitch has favorites. Sometimes the reasoning for people getting banned is so stupid, but then if a female does it, again, this is not every single
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't she rebanned after being... Or... Wasn't she rebanned after being unbanned and then banned again? I'm pretty sure they did correct that mistake. The whole Narcissa Wright story is extremely sad, though. That situation is horrible. I don't think many people know like the whole lore behind Narcissa Wright, but it's a honestly really sad story. Tell it? I can give the cliff notes. Back in the early days of Twitch, really Twitch was built on the back of speedrunning for a little while, like Siglimic, Cosmo Wright. Really the two of them were like pillars of streaming content on Twitch, and started to really get a lot of headlines, and then eventually ADGQ was rolling around, AGDQ started popping off. Cosmo Wright was a prolific speedrunner in Zelda games, Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, all of that. And then over time, started to lose interest in speedrunning. I remember, I think it was 2016, Cosmo Wright entered into a Nintendo-sanctioned competition with a guy named John Numbers, where they were playing Mario Maker as a contest. And Cosmo Wright got blown out and didn't really return to streaming after that, if I recall correctly. And then after that, Cosmo Wright's mental health seemed a little spotty from what people were seeing. Eventually, Cosmo Wright transitions into Narcissa Wright, and from there, the streams that she would do were really focused on like really negative things, and it was very like a toxic environment. Eventually, Narcissa stopped streaming for a while, and what I understood is that she just outright stopped altogether. And then she posted that tweet about wanting to kill herself, and then the Twitch staff, which obviously turned a lot of heads as like, hey, what the fuck is this? So that's where the story's at. There's a lot more nuance to it, but that's kind of like the Cliff Notes breakdown. That whole story there, a lot of like sad and unfortunate things happened along the way. But since I was so big into watching Siglimic, Cosmo, that whole community of speedrunners, it's something I actively followed for a really long time.
Stephen Heyman. On August 31st, 2018, Stephen Heyman
I don't
and John
recognize him.
DiPietro, I hope I said that right, were on their way to Dragon Con, a convention made for gamers, comic
Is that a real
enthusiasts,
thing?
science fiction fans, and more.
Sounds like a
Steven
joke,
was
like
streaming
Dragon
the whole
D's
thing.
nuts.
This is called IRL streaming. In Atlanta, Georgia, a man is seen approaching John and pins him to the ground. We can't see much, but we do get a full view of what the man looks like.
Oh shit. Ow. JP, just let go. JP, just let go.
What the fuck is happening?
JP, just let go of it. JP, just let go of it. Let go.
Wow.
You can hear
Well, that was
Stephen
awfully
repeatedly
calm.
say, JP, just let go. And this is due to what I'm assuming is John not wanting the man to take his camera, which the man did end up stealing. From the reports I've read,
wow.
it seems like the man was never caught. The YouTube comments were full of, L friend, this dude is such a bad friend, and comments like that. But honestly, that was the best thing to do. You don't know if someone is carrying a knife or a firearm, and your life really isn't worth getting killed over something as simple as a camera or your wallet, when you could just
Love how the dude didn't help. Bro, you're not gonna just give up the camera. Everyone shits on Dale Brown for giving like survival advice for how to like survive in an intense situation and disarm the attacker, and you guys give him shit. But the optimal thing to do is to not fight back. Just give your camera. Again, like Tuv just said, could have a knife, could have a gun, and that guy's big as fuck. That guy was significantly more jacked than Steven here. Just give up the fucking camera. Like, I guarantee if this guy did fight back and got his ass beat, people would give him much more shit anyway. Or he could have lost his life over it for a camera.
The police officer explains the call and asks Mr. Big for his name. Mr. Big explains that he doesn't need to give him any sort of information.
Oh boy, you went
and
full Reddit.
it's honestly a pretty long and petty back and forth from both of them, up until the cop places Mr. Big under arrest. I would say wrongfully place him under arrest. I mean, he did have his right to not say anything. Cops can always arrest you based on suspicion. You know, it didn't seem in the clip like there was any suspicion of anything other than just the way Mr. Big was acting. Anyway, so Mr. Big gets arrested, right? They leave and they close the door. So a few minutes after the arrest, the door opens and reveals a neighbor, presumably the one that made the complaint, walking in and stealing a pair of shoes and a headset. He then returns and steals what seems to be his phone and a watch. I tuned into Mr. Big's Twitch page, and to my surprise, he still streams. Well, he took a break and is back and averages about 5 to 10 viewers.
That's
so I decided to ask
fucked.
him a couple questions.
What a galaxy brain scheme,
Make sure to
though.
show him some love and make sure to tell
Fucking
him I sent
supervillain
him.
mastermind.
I'm a YouTuber. Yeah, he was charged. Guy was
nice.
a career criminal, man. Had a lengthy criminal history. I think he did 3 years for that shit.
I tried looking his name up in like a Washington police directory or something. I checked a lot of websites and I did not find a Jeremy Frost ad. It's not that I don't believe you, Mr. Big. It's just that I would have liked to pull up his mugshot. RickyBot. RickyBot was a 43-year-old
I don't know this
man
one
who
either.
streamed himself playing Pokemon Go.
Oh,
Y'all
yes, I
remember
do.
that?
Yes, I do,
Pokemon Go is
actually.
a mobile game which requires you to go
I do know this
outside
one.
in order to catch different. Since the man stole 3 cell phones and the camera itself. RickyBot was taken to a local hospital with a laceration on the side of his head and a swollen right cheek. That same night, Ricky put out a series of tweets reading, "I got mugged playing Pokemon Go in Central Park. Still talking to police and will go to the hospital soon. My jaw is a mess. Thanks all. My Twitch account got suspended. Literally insult to injury. Hashtag
Yeah, that's another fucked up thing that Twitch used to do. I don't know if they still do. If a crime gets captured on stream, or like something like that, I guess, where you get your ass beat on stream, they just ban the account outright, which is weird. I remember there was that guy who was involved in a hit and run while streaming. At least I think it was a hit and run. Oh, no. There was a streamer who, while streaming IRL, accidentally captured like a shootout, I think it was. Like a guy shot at a car on his stream, and the guy got banned for it. It's really like a weird policy they have in that department when you capture something like that. That's technically against TOS, but you had no control over it, and it would also be good evidence. So I don't know why they'd like take it down. But yeah, that was something they did for all of those kind of cases. I remember that. I don't know if they still do though. Yeah.
So if I'm streaming, right, I have a malicious friend for some reason in my house, right? He comes in, says a slur, runs out. I'm getting banned, right? It's, I hate it. I hate it so much. And this poor man got pinned down to the ground and robbed. And Twitch is like, oh, nah, that's violent. Take it down. It's like, there's a lot of stuff about Twitch that rubs me the wrong
that policy
way.
is
Anyway,
terrible.
In case you're wondering how
bad.
Ricky is doing now.
How do they justify it? Because I know they even put out a statement about it. I'm kind of curious. Where can I find those guidelines? Again, I don't know if they still do it, though. But where can I find it? Because I'm curious what they did to defend it. They don't want people faking it for clout. I remember bits and pieces back with the guy who captured a shooter on stream. I think they said something like, we're doing it to keep the VOD private for everyone involved and sharing it with the police or something. Thanks for your subcatamon. I don't remember. If I could just remember what that case was, I'm sure I could find their tweet about it that clarified. Does anyone remember what it was? Because it was a pretty big one. That one got mainstream attention. A streamer had captured like a shootout on stream on Twitch. It was valuable information for the crime, and they banned the account, which then made it inaccessible. Was it North Hollywood shootout? Man, what the fuck? This was 1997 North Hollywood shootout. I remember that. This was not Twitch, you fucking asshole. That one, though, changed law enforcement drastically. So, this is totally unrelated to anything we're watching here with the Twitch crimes. This shootout is fucking crazy. So, 2 robbers were armed to the teeth, like full-blown juggernaut from Modern Warfare 2. And they robbed a store. And the police showed up, and they just started blasting. Like, the guys full auto, just letting it all hang loose. Oh, it was a bank. They robbed the bank. Yeah, that's what it was. Robbed the bank, just blasting. And the cops were shooting back, but their handguns weren't powerful enough to pierce their armor. So they couldn't actually stop them. They couldn't actually prevent them from leaving or doing anything. So they just kept walking away, taking bullets from the police while firing back. The police got so desperate for firepower, they started, I believe they raided a nearby gun store for like shotguns and other items. And as well as like just trying to find anything with a higher caliber. And it was such a long, drawn-out shootout that post North Hollywood shootout, they started arming police officers much more heavily, like more firepower in their vehicles. It was crazy. The whole thing was captured on helicopter. In fact, the only reason it even ended is because one of the officers got a lucky shot on one of their ankles, because their ankle was slightly exposed, so they hit his ankle, he fell to the floor and knew he was going to be killed, so he took his own life. And then the other one, I think, got really desperate and just started walking at them or something like that. It was something like that. It was fucking crazy. Thanks to Prime Megalodon.
The streamer reacts and is then met with a handgun being pointed at his face, and he screams. Alright, don't roast his scream, because I'm pretty sure if any of us were in that position, we would not know what to do. But I know you chuckled after that scream, and I did too. But like, let's not be too hard on that
normal
scream. One of the thieves goes to keep his wife quiet, and you can hear the kids in the background. The other is beating the streamer repeatedly with brass knuckles, asking where the money is at.
How do people think it's fake then?
Doesn't have any money, but eventually I did find the name of the streamer, and that's TMoneyFG. It seems he doesn't stream anymore, and I couldn't find a YouTube channel, unless it's the one with 1 subscriber, but I doubt it. I also found his Twitter, and it's extremely botted. 16,000 followers and no likes on his recent tweet. Yeah, a little bit weird. You would think that if he faked this, he would at least gain clout from it. And if he faked it, I don't know if he would scream like that on purpose. Plus, why would you put your kids through something like this? I mean,
yeah, I don't think it's fake.
A lot of people were assuming that the wife set him up because she was too calm. That was stupid too. You can tell she's trying to stay calm for the kids.
So seems like a weird thing to fake if you don't even stream anymore.
I can't tell. The video looked...
Someone found it. Found the streamer you're asking about. Look up Bees on My Head TV carjacking. He was banned for getting carjacked while viewers were trying to use the VOD to find the guy who robbed them. Twitch came out and clarified their policy in response, stating that streamers are responsible for anything shown on stream. That's exactly what I was thinking of. A carjacking. Not a shootout around cars. You're absolutely right. Did he ever get his account back? Because this is like really a hardline stance. Twitch suspended his account for behavior caught on camera and has since informed the streamer he won't be getting it back anytime soon. Thanks again,
Security
McLovin.
breach. No, not the Five Nights at Freddy's game. So 6 months ago, on October 6th, Twitch was hacked and a torrent file containing around 125 gigabytes worth of leaks appeared on 4chan, and that included source code, streamer earnings, encrypted passwords, and more. We bring to you today an extremely poggers leak. Twitch is an American video live streaming service that focuses on video game live streaming, including broadcasts of esports competitions operated by Twitch Interactive, a subsidiary of Amazon.com. Their community is also a disgusting, toxic cesspool. Beginnings, mobile, desktop, desktop and video game console Twitch clients, creator payouts from 2019 until now. Find out how much your favorite streamer is really making. And then they link.
Did they ever release the second part to this?
Jeff Bezos paid $970 million for this, and we're giving it away for free. Hashtag do better Twitch. Though a bunch of stuff got leaked, people mainly focused on how much their favorite streamers were making. I mean, your passwords were at stake, but people were, you know, kind of mad at XQC for being a millionaire, which we all know. We all know he's a millionaire.
No, that
Many
was a
people were
surprise
mad
to
at
everybody.
streamers saying they didn't make sense. It's really funny because a lot of Twitch streamers have their sub count like on the top of their heads. They're letting you know
that
how
doesn't
much money
mean
they
anything,
make. It
though.
just takes a little bit of math. And they claimed that a part 2 was coming out, but that never happened. Many people just assume it was an ex-Twitch employee or a Twitch employee who knew they were going to be fired.
I doubt it was an ex-Twitch employee.
All right, before I go, I'm just going to end this off with a big bang. I'm sure you guys remember the whole Save the Kids thing.
Who could forget?
When crypto was, I wouldn't say at its peak. I would say at its peak popularity within the internet culture, there were a lot of influencers really taking advantage of this. This doesn't even count the NFT thing, right? This is crypto. Crypto and NFTs are very similar, but they are different, right?
Shitcoins versus NFTs. Shit
There were a
art.
lot of influencers promoting a bunch of scam coins, and once their fans would like buy the coins, they would quickly just take all the money, dip, leave the coin with no value. I mean, even Aiden Ross admitted to doing this.
Chat, by the way, that MILF token shit I did a while back.
This one.
I already told you guys, don't buy that shit. I got paid a bag to do that shit. Like, I don't give a fuck. I hope none of you guys actually bought it.
Oh my god.
Which was Ice Poseidon. Now, Ice Poseidon used to be a very popular Twitch streamer.
We know this
In
one.
case you guys haven't heard of him, he's very popular for getting swatted. Yeah, that's what he's known for. He once got swatted on an airplane.
I actually don't know if I'm allowed to watch his story on Twitch. We all know this one, though. He openly admitted to stealing, what was it, 500, what was it, $300 or $500,000 from a shitcoin that he was pumping. Just very open. Watch it? I'll just explain it. I made a whole video on it when it happened. Ice Poseidon was pumping a shitcoin. Somehow his community bought into it. He ran away with 300 to 500,000. I don't remember what number it was, but it was somewhere in that ballpark. And he then went on CoffeeZilla's channel and openly said, yeah, I took the money. I was worried the coin was going to lose some value, so I thought I might as well take the money before it hit zero. And he was just very open and honest. And then CoffeeZilla said, hey, why don't you just give the money back since you still have it? I see it in your wallet. You could give the money back. And he said, I could, but I don't want to. Yep. It was fucking crazy. I'll be honest, I don't usually cover topics like what I'm about to touch on today because it's extremely serious. Usually the stuff I cover is things to point and laugh at, throw tomatoes at, say boo, stinky, yucky, boo. Not this. This is horrifying. It's a story I haven't seen a ton of people mention, and I myself didn't know about it until a few nights ago where just some random chatter during stream mentioned it. And I looked it up, and the information was only a few minutes old. Like, I don't even know how that guy had access to it so quickly, unless he's like one of the chief investigators on the case that just typed it in the chat. But when I looked it up there wasn't a ton of specifics mentioned about the case. But I followed it over the last few days as more and more information has come to the public eye. It is truly evil. And to my knowledge, this is the first case where a live stream was used as an alibi in a murder case or anything of that magnitude. There of course has been cases like with Facebook live streams and even YouTube a couple times where horrible atrocities were committed live, but I think this is the only time that someone has tried to use a live stream to prove their innocence and act as a smokescreen to cover up their crimes. Now, the person I'm about to talk about hasn't been found guilty yet, but they have been charged with murder with overwhelming evidence. Extremely compelling and strong evidence. On December 18th in Ireland, a woman named Natalie McNally was stabbed to death in her own home. She was 15 weeks pregnant at the time of her death. And the person accused of the murder is a man named Stephen McCullough. He is a YouTuber as well as streamer. He mainly focused on toy reviews as far as I can tell, specifically seeming to be a big Doctor Who toy reviewer. So what happened is, on the night of Natalie McNally's murder, Stephen McCullough went live on his channel. And this live stream is still up right now. It's a 6-hour live stream. And this was crucial evidence to prove his innocence on this evening. Because how could McCullough have possibly killed someone when there's proof of him streaming from his home at the same time that the murder had taken place. So they eventually, after bringing him in initially on suspicion of being involved in this case, let him go, because this live stream did serve as a pretty good alibi for him. Plus, this wasn't just streamed to 0 viewers, there were real sentient human beings with a pulse there to watch this stream, so should any of this information ever come to light, there would be a lot of witnesses saying, no, I was watching him stream, he was 100% at home. So that was his whole plan. And while this worked for a brief period of time getting him out of suspicion, it was an ephemeral victory because after the investigators combed through about 4,000 hours worth of CCTV footage, they kind of pinned his whole location. They got his whole itinerary here. They were able to track him around and follow him around like it was a fucking Sims character. So not only did they see him through the CCTV evidence, but they also have the account of the taxi driver. They even took notice of things like a yellow glove underneath a black glove while giving change to a bus driver. And with all of this, they had a really strong case against him being the murderer. But they still had that live stream to explain. Because again, there is a live stream that did span the entire course where all of this took place. So how the fuck does this happen? You know, is he David Copperfield? Like, what, 2 places at once? Is this some kind of prestige situation where he had like a twin or a clone of himself? The actual answer is it's far simpler than you would possibly ever think. The live stream was fake. Yes, the stream went live on his channel during this whole period of time, but it wasn't actually a live stream. It was a pre-recorded video that Stephen McCullough had recorded days prior in order to look like a live stream, to mimic a live stream, so that way it could be used as an alibi for him. And when you watch the live stream, which again is still up on his channel, there are so many alarming red flag moments throughout it, even from the get-go. So he mentions at the very beginning of this live stream that he's not going to be able to read chat for a variety of technical reasons. One of them being it would crash his computer, it'd freeze the computer, it'd ruin the whole stream because of all of these deep tech problems that he couldn't solve. Everything's gone cattywampus, so he won't be able to read your chat. More like, Doctor, who's talking? Because I can't see you, I'm not reading chat. He just keeps reiterating over and over and over again that there's going to be no chat interaction. Because obviously, since this is a pre-recorded thing, there is no chat for him to read or interact with.
Well, because this streaming software is kind of up the left, it means I can't check the live chat, which is a real shame. Can't look at the live chat for some bloody reason, because if I do, it makes the whole thing freeze and OBS just screws up.
And he just kept like explaining why he can't read chat, and then he started talking about like, well, I guess I could read it on my phone, but you know, I get addicted to TikTok when I'm on my phone, and that's a mess, so I've put my phone in timeout in another room, so I won't be reading chats there either, and that'd probably ruin my internet too anyway, so no chat tonight. You guys can talk amongst yourself. I don't even like live streamers who read chat, so no chat for me tonight. There's plenty of streamers who don't interact with chat, but to go this long and this in-depth on things that make absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever to explain why you're not going to be reading chat or reacting to donations is definitely a little odd. And there's plenty of other really alarming moments about this stream, especially looking back on it in hindsight. He keeps reiterating that he's live, you know, this is live, and he's staying inside all night. He talks about like drinking and driving, and he'd never drink and drive, which is why he's staying inside, drinking on stream live for his viewers to enjoy. He's playing GTA Vice City throughout the stream, and he's making comments about like how the police force is no longer like equipped to handle cases, and there's a rise in crime. It's in the real world he's talking about. It's all very fucking alarming stuff, but by far the scariest thing he says has to be this.
Yeah, that's physics. That's what would happen in the real world. Abso-fucking-notly. Abso-fucking-notly.
Completely out of nowhere, unprompted, he mentions someone named Natalie in a pretty menacing way. And once again, there's plenty of other things he says in here that are very scary, but I think this one is by far the worst moment. This has been 100% confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt to be a fake live stream. When authorities seized some possessions, they found the actual video itself and concluded that it was filmed on December 13th or 14th. And also, McCullough himself has confirmed that the live stream was not actually live, it was pre-recorded, but insists that he was actually just drinking by himself alone that night. He completely denies the murder and insists that someone else may have been dropped off in a taxi near his home. This is referring to the CCTV evidence that they've gathered, pinpointing all of his locations throughout the evening. There's also other awful shit here as well. McCullough stayed pretty close to Natalie McNally's parents, and in one case even left his phone over at their house in order to bug them and secretly spy on them to record their conversations to see if he was a suspect. So McCullough went to the McNally house, left his phone on record, and left, but returned 40 minutes later claiming to have forgotten it, and police were saying that this was an attempt to listen into their conversations to see if they suspected him of anything in this. I can't envision a world where Stephen McCullough is not the person who committed this crime. There is just an overwhelming amount of evidence against him. And he still doesn't have a real explanation for what the possible motive to faking the live stream would even be. Nothing that makes sense, at least. And then randomly dropping Natalie's name during it. I just cannot imagine that this man is innocent, but he hasn't been found fully guilty of being the murderer yet. But yeah, overall, a horrifying situation. I'm wishing the absolute best for the McNally family, and I'm hoping justice is served here. That's about it. So yeah. Call of Duty. It's a shit franchise with a shittier community, and now they've helped murder an innocent man. So this is a story I've been following since the first reports of a suspected death via swatting were reported on, and I'm sure some of you have already heard it by now, but it's something I want to talk about. So this sad story goes, two man-children named Vaporize and Mir Cole, and I know upon hearing these abysmal names you asked yourself, are these 8-year-olds that this story is about? No, these are not 8-year-olds that those names belong to. Those names belong to adults. And these two adults had a Call of Duty wager match for $1.50. They were really throwing the wood down that night, high stakes gambling, and they lost the match. They were on the same team and they got mad at each other and they blamed each other for the loss and they started going at it. No, my dick's 3 inches hard, so I have the bigger penis. Who cares if you have the bigger penis? A girl laughed at me once, and then eventually it escalates to the point where Vaporizer gets in contact with an even bigger virgin, the chief virgin. His name is Swatistic, and he had been known for swatting things like MLG matches and shit, just really sad, pathetic stuff. And this human catheter did an interview on YouTube talking about this. I still watched it because I wanted to hear what a swatter sounded like, and it's exactly like what you'd expect, just as pathetic as you'd imagine.
Right, do you take any responsibility for what happened?
The argument can be made that the police would have never showed up if I didn't make the call. However, I don't believe that I'm the only guilty party involved in this whole incident, considering I was contacted and, almost instructed to SWAT and taunted to SWAT an address. I mean, of course, if you want to, you could say that, of course, I was involved. However, other people were involved. Yeah, the call was made by me, but as far as the whole incident, you could point the finger at numerous people.
It's amazing how you can actually hear the back acne in this kid's voice. And the way he talks, it's like he took pages right out of the Tumblr experts playbook, like the fucking incel section of Tumblr who gives advice on what to do when faced with authorities. He just, allegedly, well, I guess you could look at it that way. Well, one could say I had access to, due to multiple interpretations, there's a multitude of factors at play. I suppose you could, deduce that I pushed him into the shark-infested waters, but it was the shark that killed him, not me. And it's sad that I have to compare sharks to cops, because sharks aren't even out for as much blood as cops are. But anyway, once Vaporize gets in contact with Swatistic, they attempt to dox and swat Miracle, but Miracle, in an attempt to prove that his cock is 3 inches hard, reaches out to Swatistic and says, "Here's my address, swat me, pussy boy," and here's the tweet. So he does. He swats that address. But Miracle, being the brave man he is, gives an address that isn't his, belongs to an innocent man who gets killed by the cops when they show up. In his interview with Keemstar, the kid shows no remorse at all, nor does he take any responsibility, and passes the blame off onto the other two kids. And I do agree, they have a big part to play in this. I think all three of them should have the same sentence, which is life in prison, because they contribute absolutely nothing to society. They fucking have Call of Duty wager matches for $1.50 and then kill an innocent man over it. What good do they bring to society? They're just downright sociopaths. None of them felt any empathy for what happened. It wasn't just the kid who actually called the SWAT. Miracle, the one who gave that address, was laughing about it on Twitter. Vaporizer is not to be heard from. They all deleted their accounts and shit. But I really don't think it can be that difficult to find out who these 3 dudes are. The fucking NSA can watch me jerk off in the middle of my kitchen through my coffee maker. How can they not find who owns these horrible Twitter accounts with these horrible fucking names? And now I'd like to talk directly to the people who say, well, it's not their fault, it's the cop who killed him's fault. No, it's definitely their fault. That wouldn't have happened if they didn't call the police. But the police are also very much to blame here. So, according to the family, what happened is the police were banging on the door, the husband opens the door and is immediately shot by a cop. Immediately shot. Why the fuck is he immediately shot? You go there because it's a reported hostage situation. I understand it's very high tension, you're nervous, you're on edge, but you knock on the door and someone opens the door. That's the expected response. Why do you panic and shoot him? It's like a pizza man going to my door because I ordered pizza. He knocks on my door, I open the door, and he fucking blasts me with a shotgun because he wasn't expecting me to open the door. What the fuck were the cops expecting? Did they think he was gonna bust through the second floor window like Action Man and land on the ground and turn himself in? Why did they freak out because he opened the door? I don't get that response at all. Everyone's like, oh, I feel so sorry for the cop. He's the real victim here. He's gonna have to live with that for the rest of his life. No, the cop is not the real fucking victim here. The real victim is the man who got killed and his family that he leaves behind now. I feel absolutely nothing for that cop except hatred. He's either A, the most untrained officer on the force, and the force benefits from him not being there, or B, just a bloodthirsty menace. Now, if it's the former, what kind of training do the SWAT go through? They're supposed to be the elite. They're supposed to be the best of the best. But apparently they're all so fucking afraid of their own shadow. What kind of training do they get? I have to know. Do they just put the fear of God in them? They train them like they're fucking dogs. If you hear a loud sound, just fucking shoot at it. You don't want to take any risks. No matter what happens, if you hear anything, if you see anything, shoot it. That's the only way to deal with problems. They just have to be so poorly trained. And the way they handle the situation after they kill the husband is just as bad. So they go there because it's a reported hostage situation. They kill the man who I guess they immediately assumed was the man who took the hostages. He opened the door, he must have the hostages. Fucking blast him, okay? He's down. Now they have the hostages left, and what do? They make the hostages walk over the corpse and then handcuff them. What fucking heroes, huh? That's how you're trained to handle a hostage situation. You handcuff the hostage after making them walk over a dead body? Amazing. Absolutely amazing. SWAT is a fucking joke. An absolute fucking joke. I made this video when the story was still fresh and all the details weren't fully out there, and now I just watched an interview with the mother of the son who was killed by the police, and she says there was no knocking on the door. He heard noises, so opened the door and was gunned down. They weren't giving him any warnings or anything, they just killed him the second he opened the door. Which doesn't exactly make it any better for the police side of the story. I'm not going to take out the part of the video with the knocking on the door portion because there still is some sources claiming they did knock on the door and then killed him when he opened it. So really neither one of them looks better for the police. Him opening the door while they, didn't give him any warnings or anything and killing him, that's just as bad. I don't know what the fuck they thought he was doing, opening the door to charge them with like riding on horseback or something. It's still a ridiculous scenario that doesn't warrant them gunning him down in any cases. Also, more breaking news as I was rendering this video out, the swatter has been arrested. Here's his picture. This is him. Looking like a man you'd find at your local card shop playing Yu-Gi-Oh! With the children. And now I'm happy to say, Tyler joins the Hall of Fame of swatters with Robert McDade and Zachary Lee, who are behind bars for many years. It's a fantastic conclusion, really. But this shouldn't be where the story ends. Miracle and Vaporizing the cop need to face repercussions for this event. This whole thing wouldn't have happened without Miracle and Vaporize coming together and forming the perfect storm of tiny penis and lack of testosterone. And if Tyler's going to jail, those two should also be going to jail. Vaporize will likely get raperized in there. And it'd be a miracle if the other guy's asshole wasn't stretched 2 feet. The cop also needs to be joining them with some more than just a paid vacation. There needs to be more done here. Justice hasn't been served entirely, but it's a great fucking start. And I just want to address this because I already know it's going to come up in the comments, people calling me just a cop hater, one of those fuck all cops kind of people. I'm not. I don't hate all cops. There's good and bad cops, I know that, but there's a lot of bad cops, a lot of them going around right now. Just take, for example, the fucking Simon Says killer from not too long ago, who just executed a man who was following his absurd instructions, making him do everything shy of an interpretive dance and write him a book report, and then he kills him. It's fucking sickening. And I think this is another example of a bad cop. I know we don't have all the details surrounding what happened here, but I don't think under any circumstances would a man opening a door warrant being gunned down in cold blood. Unless he walked out of that front door with a nuclear bomb strapped to his chest, I don't see why you executed him like that for no fucking reason with no warnings. It's just disgusting. This is a bad cop. There's a lot of bad cops, but I don't hate all cops. Obviously not all cops are bad. But yeah, I mean, that's this whole story, and I'm super glad the swatter was caught, and we can only hope that justice is served for the other 3 that were involved in this tragedy. So yeah, that's it. So yeah. There's so many things in this world that can make you frown. Undercooked meat, getting a porta potty tipped over on you while you're inside, just to name a couple. I want to give you something that can make you smile. One of those public nuisance streamers whose whole existence revolves around making everyone's lives around them worse as their content has just been arrested. 2023 has actually been a pretty solid year for streamers everyone hates getting thrown in the slammer, finally facing some real repercussions for their awful behavior and unbelievable cringe, such as the streamer Johnny Somali, who is still currently in jail in Japan right now, God bless. Now, I haven't seen a follow-up to the individual we're going to talk about right now, so I'm going to delve into fantasy like it's the fucking Magic Treehouse here. In my little headcanon fanfic, he is currently sitting in his prison cell blubbering his little eyes out like a bitch. And this clip actually makes me extremely happy. It reminds me that Christmas is right around the corner because it gets me in a joyful spirit. And just as old Saint Nicholas taught us, it's better to give than to receive. So I wanted to give you all the gift of a big ear-to-ear grin as we watch this insufferable asshole get arrested, but also what led up to it.
Hey, listen up. You look so cute and you look so delectable. I want to put you on a plate and just eat you up. How about that? What's your name, baby? I know you're sorry. You're sorry you can't get with a hunk like me. You're sorry you're stuck with a cuck that you fucking cheat on. You record videos of you sucking off other guys and he wants to see that shit. Correct me if I'm wrong.
This guy's voice sounds like someone doing an impression of a Redditor. He's got that quintessential nasally loser voice, and clearly he knows he's not actually going to end up getting this girl's number or anything like that. He's being as abrasive as possible because it's content for his stream to entertain them by just going up and harassing women as much as possible. Admittedly, this guy is also self-aware enough to recognize that he is a creep, but instead of doing anything to fix that and better himself, he's more than happy to lean into it as much as possible to become the ultimate creep. He has adopted it as his only personality trait, being a loveless, sexless loser, and tries to make a career out of it. He is actually striving to be a professional dumpster for everyone in the chat to spit in and laugh at. It is pathetic. Dude's out here more dripless than I am, by the way. He's out here rocking a yellow t-shirt, bright yellow, looking like Curious George's friend, the man in the yellow jacket. Goober's also got some of the worst posture I've ever seen in public. He's more hunched over than that iconic photo of Goatman in the forest. So I already know when he's not out in public harassing people for his stream, he's inside on the computer doom scrolling the internet, rotting and withering away. Now, of course, I'm not usually one to criticize posture, because sometimes when I'm streaming, I get fucking hunched over and right up against the monitor too. But at least when I'm out in public, I'm self-aware enough to recognize that you gotta straighten that shit up.
And that happens regularly, right? Tell me I'm right on the money or not. Tell me, okay, listen up, baby. I'm so sorry. You know, I really tried. God damn you. Damn, her booty's so small. Fuck.
It's so cute how he also has a friend with him that's doing the same thing, but from a distance, kind of whispering it to stream, just insulting the girl for the audience. What an unbelievable power couple of fucking douchebags.
I don't want to bother you guys, I'm not trying to be creepy in any way, but can I get like one of your numbers and I'll be on my way and then we can meet up?
We're actually going to go meet our boyfriends right now. So.
Oh, so I can't take you out or do anything like that?
Yes, really quick, just stop right now.
Sorry, I'm not.
Doesn't matter what you want. Do you want?
We're just, here's what we're wondering.
I'm sorry.
You're just so fucking hot.
That second encounter right there is nightmarish. This girl's walking on the street alone. Two weirdos come up to her and say, "It doesn't matter what you want." And you could see her facial expression drop, just completely sink into a panic mode. I have no doubt she expected to be attacked by them or something, and you can see she picked up the pace. Because who wouldn't? That's a fucking weird thing to have happen. That's frightening. And especially from these two guys who are just walking around, camera out, coming up to you in the middle of the night. Like, what the fuck? This whole shtick sucks. It's just going up and bothering people who are just going about their night. just randomly coming up to women, hey, pardon me, toots. Unsucked penis is a disease, and I'm suffering from it. Are you the cure? You should be. It's fucking dumb. And it's a lot worse than that. It's worse than just going up and doing cringy lines. It's sticking around, bothering people, and in this case, scaring a woman who's walking home alone.
Want to be my girlfriend for 5 minutes? Do you want to just go on a little date?
We're gonna walk for a bit.
Okay.
Just a pinky.
Okay.
Pinky?
So you can hold my hand.
Oh,
yeah.
So,
Hey, I'm here with my girlfriend. I'm here with my girl. Can you guys just shut the fuck up? I'm here with my girlfriend.
Okay,
Just shut the
don't
fuck
scare
up.
people.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm here with my girlfriend. You're making too much noise. Get the fuck out of here, asshole. Fucking prick. I'm so sorry, Luna.
No, this is
no.
dumb.
Please. No, I was just protecting you.
No,
I was protecting you, baby.
No.
Please.
Ha ha, you get it? The joke is he's just pretending to be an unhinged lunatic. I don't know why you couldn't understand the gut-busting comedy of that. I'm gonna toss a quick fun fact your way, so get ready to receive it. About a month ago, I made a video going over shitty streamers like this guy and his friend, and I'm almost 100% certain that this is the same guy that ran away when someone he was harassing finally took him up on the offer to fight. He was the guy that instigated a conflict, and then the guy he was doing it to said, alright, let's just settle it right now. And immediately this guy bolted off. I'm being very generous with that term. Bolted in the same way that an alcoholic zombie would stumble across the street, because this guy is not athletic at all. But he ran away as quickly as his goofy little legs could take him, and then had this brief come-to-Jesus moment where he recognized just how sad and pathetic he is. Just this impressive specimen of trash.
All right. You and me, Central Park, tomorrow. Don't be late, motherfucker.
All right. I hope he doesn't chase me because I don't want to fight him. Am I a pussy beta? Perhaps. But I don't know.
Using all the latest and greatest in technology and summoning the world's leading forensic experts to analyze the footage here, I think we can all conclude with a high level of confidence that this guy and the guy that I've been showing you who's about to get arrested here on stream are the same person. There's just no way that this world is forsaken enough to allow two people that sound, look, and act like him and stream like him to exist at the same time. I just don't believe that. It's the same person. I'm pretty sure of it.
You love it.
You know that there's like a...
Excuse me, what's going on? What's going on? Relax.
Put your hands behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back.
What's going on?
You're being placed under arrest.
For what?
I'll tell you in a minute. Yeah. You just want to talk to you, you want to run. All right, now we're going to put you on your side.
So they're arresting Carl, guys? Carl did nothing wrong?
Ah, yes, the good ending. Tugs on your heartstrings. It's a beautiful thing to witness. You love to see that. I can't imagine a more fitting conclusion here. I don't know why his buddy's saying he did nothing wrong. He immediately tried to run from the cops who were about to start talking to him. You can't do that. Like, what the fuck? I imagine they got called there for a disturbance, like, hey, there's this weirdo and his weirdo friend that keep harassing everyone nearby, so the cops are coming to tell him to, like, cut that shit out. And then Chief Goofball here immediately tries to run. Well, it's not really a run. This guy and run don't really go in the same sentence. He takes, like, two fee-fi-fo-fum steps that kind of resemble, like, speedier movement, and the cops are like, nah, putting the kibosh on this, and they just tackle him, they take him down, and then stand him back up. So, again, I don't know what the update is. I don't know if he's still in custody or what, or if there's any charges. I couldn't tell you. It just makes me happy to see that. It's just a big ol' asshole getting taken off the streets there, so I thought that might put a smile on some of your faces. That's about it. So, yep. I hope you slept well last night, because you may never sleep again after watching this. I'm going to show you what a real demon looks like in our world. If I asked you to picture a devil, I think a lot of you would go to, like, him from Powerpuff Girls, like just that really classic red monster with horns, but in real life, that's not what a devil looks like. This is what it looks like. Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland is a preacher, evangelist, whom I've referenced many times in the past, that exploits religion for financial gain. He is extraordinarily wealthy by taking advantage of the people in his faith. and he does all of it with a smile on his face and an attitude that resembles just pure evil. He is what I believe to be a wolf in sheep's clothing, as they say. Let me show you one of his most famous interviews, which is going viral again, which is why I wanted to talk about it, where he was interviewed by Inside Edition about his lavish lifestyle.
How are you, sir? We'd just like to ask you about why you don't want to fly commercial. Why have you said that you won't fly commercial? You said that it's like getting into a tube with a bunch of demons. Why do you think that?
Yeah, he's one of those private jet preachers that I always like to insult and call attention to the hypocrisy of. People like him, these evangelists or heads of mega churches that live a life of outrageous luxury financed off the backs of those in their congregation who are donating under the guise that it's going to help further their faith or help the church or something like that, when really all it's doing is enabling them to live a lavish lifestyle. It always just makes me sick to my stomach. It runs so counter to the Bible that I have no doubt in my mind they will likely be going to hell without God even giving them a consideration of entering the pearly fucking gates up there. It is deplorable. It is just diabolical stuff. And yet it is so common. I just recently talked about an online pastor who blamed his cryptocurrency scam on God, saying that God made him make a shitcoin to scam the people that follow him, which has to be one of the most blasphemous things you can ever say as a pastor, but he had the gall, the fucking chutzpah, to blame the crypto scam on the Lord. And you're going to see this a lot throughout this interview, and if you ever dive into this rabbit hole of corrupt pastors, they always use their connection with God as the excuse. Well, God actually wants me to have a whole fleet of private jets. It's actually very Christian to be wealthy. And it's just a complete bastardization of what the Bible's supposed to teach.
No, listen to me just a second. Of course. Not the people. The main reason is because of the need. If I flew commercial, I'd have to stop 65% of what I'm doing.
Baloney. What a load of horseradish. You wouldn't have to stop 65% of what you're doing if you flew commercial. You can fly commercial and still reach all of the same places. There are more planes in the sky right now than there is poop in my butt. And trust me, there's a lot of poop in there, because I haven't taken my morning shit yet. You can fly commercial and still do all of the same work you've been doing. And it's not like you're doing important work, Kenneth. All you do is you're basically like this Dementor who sucks money out of everywhere he goes. That's not important work. You're just perverting Christianity to fit your own agenda of making as much doubloons as you possibly can accrue in this lifetime.
Isn't it true that you want to fly commercial so that you can fly in luxury? How much money did you pay for Tyler Perry's Gulfstream jet, for example?
Well, for example, that's really none of your business, but...
Isn't it the business of your donors?
Listen, I paid. You kind of caught me off guard here, okay?
Certainly. Well, if you'd like to come out here, I'd like to give you a chance to catch your breath and...
He's floundering here because he knows there's really no way of justifying this when actually confronted with the question. He usually relies on the Bible as a shield from criticism, so all the people in his faith, if they question him, he says, oh, well, you're questioning God. But now he's actually getting interviewed by someone who's done their research and is actually talking to him about how his lifestyle is the complete opposite of what the Bible talks about. And he doesn't really know how to defend it, because there's no way of doing that. It's also very telling the way he views all the people around him by calling them demons in a tube when talking about flying commercial and why he just won't do it, because he can't stand to be around people in general. He just wants to use them for his own financial gain. It's a fucking sickening perspective. And his mannerisms, the way that he does these like creepy smiles and his gestures, all of it is so menacing.
And have a conversation. We don't want to catch you off guard.
I love Inside Edition. You got to get this now. Hey, you listening to me? My wife thinks Inside Edition is, oh yeah. Now,
that'll send a shiver down your spine. The way he acts and the way he sounds, all of it is what I imagine it would look and sound like if a demon was ever made flesh on this planet. He is what I would picture the Antichrist looking and acting like. Oh, it's just like disturbing listening to him speak. My wife thinks Inside Edition is, oh yeah. What does that even mean? Like he's clearly trying his best to like suck their cock. Like, Inside Edition is incredible. I can't believe you guys would do this to me when I'm such a fan of yours. It's just weird. It's so off-putting. Everything about him feels so fake and sinister.
Thank you, Lord. Help me. Let me pray this thing.
Well, let me just ask you a really simple question. A lot of people think it's unbecoming for a preacher to live a life of luxury and to fly around in private jets. What's your response to that?
Very simple. It takes a lot of money to do what we do. We have brought over 100, let's see, the latest figures just came out, 122 million people to the Lord Jesus Christ.
Can you show me the Carfax on that? I'd really like to see the data to support that claim. What I think happened is you brought in $122 million. That's not necessarily bringing people to the faith, you know what I mean? That's more like bringing the clams to the bank, is what it seems more to me. I really appreciate the Inside Edition interviewer not pulling any punches, just playing hardball here. She is absolutely cooking Kenneth. She is slapping his cheeks on the grill and whipping up a fine ass patty here at the barbecue today. Watching Kenneth squirm is priceless, and you're going to see his defense mechanism, as it is for a lot of these corrupt pastors, is always like, I need to pray, hold on, wait a minute, I'm getting a message from God, it's a transmission into my cerebral cortex, hold on a minute. And then he's like, oh Lord, I'd pray, wait, hold on a second, Inside Edition, shit, I'm getting overcome with the faith again. He said I need another private jet. Oh, yeah. Like, it's one of those things where in the middle of being confronted with an indefensible statement or an indefensible act, they desperately cling to, hold on, I gotta pray real quick. Like, no, I'm a good person because God's talking to me and I gotta pray. I'm so overcome with it. I've gotta pray. And you see that time and time again when it comes to this. It's pathetic. And it's honestly an affront to God, I would imagine, to try and use him as your get-out-of-jail-free card. That shit, again, that's got to be blasphemous. It's got to be.
Without the airplane that we have, that I bought from Tyler Perry, and I didn't pay anywhere. And Tyler's one of the greatest guys. He made that airplane so cheap for me, I couldn't help but buy it.
Case closed. It was such a good deal, he was losing people's money by not investing it in that private jet. Man, thank God for Tyler. I have no doubt the good Lord put Tyler in the position he's in today just so he could give Kenneth Copeland a private jet at a great deal to continue to spread the good word and the gospel.
Well, my question then, okay, all right, but I want to get to the demons because people are very concerned about that comment.
Give me a chance here, Inside Edition. Okay. I love your eyes. And,
I don't know what all this was here. It was like a cat playing with a toy. He was just like swatting at her or something to get her to stop. And then he gives her a random compliment out of nowhere, just like a rogue statement. You have great eyes. What the fuck is that? Why are you so unhinged? He's all over the place here.
Here's what happened. We flew in 21 days, 70 hours, 40,000 miles, touched 5 continents, and preached face to face personally with 125,000 people.
Do you ever...
What in the fuck are you yapping about? Huh? What are you blabbering on about? That has nothing to do with your statement about the demons in the tube from commercial airlines you can't be caught dead around. This is a nothing burger. What are you talking about? This is, again, dodging it and just putting it on like, oh, we do great work that can only be accomplished through the use of a private jet. We couldn't reach all of these places commercial. It wouldn't make any sense. It's got to be a private jet, a very luxurious one, so I can be closer to God up there in heaven. It's fucking ridiculous.
Do you ever use your private jets to go visit your vacation homes, for example?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Again, getting back to the comment, you said that you don't like to fly commercial because you don't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers.
He was so close to letting the mask slip off his face right there in that moment. I really thought he was about to reach over and start strangling her like Homer Simpson to Bart. Like, he gets the finger out, and he gets really stern and serious. That look that he gives her, that would strike fear in the hearts of anyone. His facial expressions are so exaggerated, he's like a Pixar character. The way that he's able to constantly have these wide range of emotions that he conveys like that. The way he flips from infuriated to like smiling at her in the creepiest way possible, it's alarming. Everything about this guy should be sending you into a fight or flight response. As opposed to just throwing money at him, it should be running away from him.
Can you explain what you meant by that term then? Just explain, because it's really simple. You said you didn't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. What did you mean?
Well, let me ask you.
Do you think that people that fly commercial are demons?
If you give me a chance to talk, sweetheart, I'll explain this to you. But it's a biblical thing. It's a spiritual thing. It doesn't have anything to do with people. People, I love people. Jesus loves people.
That's probably the first truthful thing he's ever said in his life. I have no doubt that Kenneth Copeland loves people. Because people are the ones that finance his lavish lifestyle. They pay for his private jet vacations that he goes on all the fucking time out the wazoo. So I know he loves people. I'd argue there's only one thing Kenneth Copeland loves more than people. Wallets. And sticking his dick in there and just fucking them raw. Taking as much money out of it as he can possibly find. Through misleading them through the faith. And exploiting them, and taking advantage of them. That's the only thing that he loves more than just people in general, would be my bet. So again, he will not just answer the question of what he meant by being in a tube with a bunch of demons on it, and the Inside Edition interviewer continues to press that, which I really appreciate. He continues to just tiptoe around it. Oh, let me ask you a question. No, goofball, just answer it yourself. Just say what you meant. Say it with your whole chest.
But people get pushed in alcohol. Do you think that's a good place for a preacher to be and prepare to go preach to a lot of people when somebody in there is dragging some woman down an aisle? It made me so mad to see that on television. I wanted to punch the guy out myself. I can't be doing that while I'm getting ready to preach.
So you just don't like to be around the sinful people or the hurtful people. Is that what you're saying?
Not the people, baby. Not the people. Back during the days that we couldn't do anything else, we had to travel commercial.
The saddest period in his life when he had to fly commercial. God bless, I can't believe he made it out alive with that. Yeah, that's horrifying. Horrifying. But again, Kenneth, you're directly referencing people when you're talking about this. You gave an example of a man dragging someone down the aisle. Like, what? You're literally talking about people, and you're like, no, not the people. What the fuck are you talking about? And he brings up, like, alcohol. I can't be around alcohol in commercial. That's not a good place for a preacher. What the fuck? The reason he won't just say what we all know he meant is because he knows that even the most brainwashed in his following would hear that and get a very bad impression of it. Because he is basically calling them demons. And that could potentially hurt his bottom line.
We wrestle not with people, but with principalities and powers, unseen things, rulers of the darkness of this world. Talking about the devil, he's a very real devil, just the same as Jesus is a very real Lord.
Yeah, I'm starting to agree, Kenneth. I feel like I'm watching an interview with the devil right now. He continues, again, to just try and start spouting sermons that are pretty unrelated to this whole thing. He then talks about how many jets they have, and, well, he still has no way of defending it in any meaningful capacity. Because you can't really defend it, because there is no universe where a preacher needs this level of wealth to do what they do. It's gluttonous. That's a sin, Kenneth. It's corruption. Blatant corruption. And it comes from, at least partly, from the donations of just normal people that go to these mega churches or go to these traveling evangelists, that kind of shit. It comes from them trying to better their life. But they're doing it through a con man who's taking advantage of that desire. And it's fucking sad. It always makes me furious. Kenneth Copeland is one of my least favorite people on the planet and has been for the better part of a decade. I've talked about Kenneth for a long time now, and I'm sure I will continue to do so, because this guy is going to most likely live forever, because he is propped up by the puppet strings of Lucifer himself. So this guy, he's probably going to outlast everybody on this planet at some point.
But the main thing that happened that wasn't the main reason. The main reason was I could no longer do what I called to do and be on the airlines. Besides that, I need my clothes when I get there.
And you have some fancy clothes. I mean, for a pastor, you are living a life of luxury. You've got great homes, you've got great planes, you drive in limos.
I'm a very wealthy man.
You're a very wealthy man.
Yes.
Cool, I guess. If I was someone that was putting money into the church and what I believe would be a man of God, I think the number one thing I wouldn't want to hear is that he just uses it to be a wealthy man with a bunch of really fancy clothes, cars, and private jets. Feels like it defeats the whole purpose, don't you think? I also can't help but focus on his turkey neck that keeps jiggling every time he speaks. It's like paper in like a strong gust of wind constantly. His neck, like there's so much loose skin on it, it looks like the rudder to a boat or something, and it just keeps fucking flapping around and it distracts me.
My wealth doesn't come from offerings alone.
Because you sell things, books and DVDs.
Yes, and I have a lot of natural gas on our property. Didn't know that, did you, babe?
Now I do.
Yeah, you do. Isn't that wonderful?
You realize that you still just did a big self-report there, don't you, Kenneth? You said that your wealth doesn't come from offerings alone, which means some of it does, which means some of your wealth is taken directly from the offerings of those in your churches and those that believe that what they're doing is for the greater good of the faith, not to line your pockets. You openly just admitted to that.
But it will run something in the neighborhood of 25 million in the poor. You can't do that and be broke.
So final question is, a lot of people maybe have a misunderstanding then about what you do in prosperity preaching. So the final question is this. To those critics that say that a preacher should not be living a life of luxury, what is your response to that?
They're wrong.
That's it?
Enough said. Hey, checkmate. Now give him more money for being wrong and hurting his feelings, so he can get himself a new private jet to dry his tears with. He says that he invests 20 to 25 million in the poor. What do you do? How do you help them? Seems like you just take money from everybody. What do you do with that 20 to 25 million that you apparently invest in the poor? I looked it up and I couldn't really find anything on that. There's really no information on it. I'm super curious now. Seems like just kind of a lie. Maybe invest 20 to 25 million in like smaller businesses that serve less wealthy areas or something. I have no clue, but I can't find anything where he's like directly helping anybody except himself, actually.
It's a misunderstanding of the Bible that if you go into the Old Covenant, do you think the Jewish people believe you should be broke?
Are you saying that Jewish people appreciate money more than... Really?
They believe in wealth.
Some people would find that offensive.
No, wait a minute now. I'm not talking about some people. I'm talking about the Bible.
Shit's getting really weird now, and Kenneth Copeland is clearly struggling and sweating. This has nothing to do with the Bible either, by the way, because the Bible makes it clear in no uncertain terms that this house of worship should never be used as a place for, like, financial benefit for those involved. Like, you know that moment a lot of people recall from the Bible where Jesus flips a table? They might forget why that happened, so I'm going to go ahead and post this. Jesus entered the temple courts and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. It is written, he said to them, my house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers. This has been brought up before, and I have seen a lot of slimy excuses and really weird interpretations of that to still justify taking a ton of money from people in the church. But the way I always interpreted that, and really the way I was kind of taught when I was still very religious back when I was growing up, like I mentioned, I actually got baptized twice in case the Lord slept through the first one, like if his alarm didn't go off to watch it. I did it twice just to ensure. But with this, I was always under the impression that the lesson is that the faith should never be used as just a way of making money from people through it.
The Bible also says that it's more difficult for a rich man to get into heaven than it is for a camel to get through the eye of a needle, correct?
The rest of the scripture. But he said, all things are possible with God.
I thought that was a really good dunk from the reporter there that Kenneth Copeland tries to weasel his way out of. I don't think it's a really good excuse, though. That's kind of a cop-out. Oh, yeah, it does say that in the Bible, but it also says anything's possible through the power of God. When that's an excuse you see a lot of terrible pieces of shit use. What's the expression? Sin 6 days of the week, ask forgiveness on the 7th, repeat the cycle, something like that. He's basically just saying like, yeah, no, it does say that, and me taking all this money from these people, maybe it is sinful, but hey, anything's possible through the power of God. I'll probably still get into heaven because he forgives anything, so who cares? I'll do what I want, and then ask for forgiveness, and get it.
Both of my grandfathers were preachers. They were both very poor. They lived simple, modest lives. They were extremely offended by men that made money like you do, preaching like you do. What would your response be to people that think that preachers shouldn't live this kind of a lifestyle? Folks like both my grandfathers.
And I understand that. And I love them with all my heart. It's your grandfathers that we're standing on their shoulders.
Not exactly an inspiring thing to say. It's your grandfathers that I've built my empire on top of, the preachers that were actually doing some good work and being genuine people. Well, I was able to exploit that good reputation for myself. I'm standing on their shoulders. It's thanks to them. They're the real heroes. Like, oh my god, they're turning over in their grave right now hearing that statement. That is abhorrent.
Sir, thank you so much for your time
What's your
today.
name?
Lisa Guerrero.
Lisa, God bless, Father bless Lisa today. Thank you for her grandparents. I love Inside Edition. I love the people on it. And it thrills me to get a chance to have my face on Inside Edition.
Thank you very much, Reverend. You have a nice day.
Yes, ma'am.
That's where the interview concludes. And I think Kenneth Copeland is a real asshole. I think that guy is evil. Everything about him is exactly what I would picture a demon on this earth disguising itself as, to a T. It's almost cartoonish how evil his aura is. So yeah, anyway, that's really about it. So yeah. I've talked about this before, but it's been a little while, so I'm going to dust it off and give you a little refresher. One of my favorite little genres of content on YouTube is the video games are evil crowd. Usually it's religiously charged, and I want to make it clear right away, it's totally fine if you don't like video games, right? That's absolutely understandable, no problem with that. But what I find extremely entertaining is there's quite a few churches as well as like individual content creators that pump out content saying that video games are the work of Lucifer and they're mind controlling the world in order to turn them against God. And I always can't help but giggle, acting like if you put the controller in your hand, you're saying goodbye to God himself. It'll corrupt your soul and condemn you to the fiery pits of hell for all eternity because you played Minecraft. Again, it's totally fine to not be a video game enthusiast if you're not blessed with that gamer gene or have esports pumping through your veins, no big deal. But a lot of these videos I watch from a bunch of different churches are actually just kind of wild about, instilling fear in such simple things and like so many different things. Like video games has become a big one. Another big one is anime. And all the arguments they make are really kind of ridiculous because you can make those arguments for actually everything ever, any hobby. There are real arguments to be made against like video games. They can be addictive, especially ones that are like microtransaction based. They could be financially damaging. There are like actual issues, right? If you don't have that level of self-control to not get obsessed over something and addicted to it, then there's a lot of harmful effects that come from it. But that's never the arguments they make. Instead, they just speak about video games like it's the Antichrist, and like the cyberspace is basically hell on earth. So I wanted to showcase what I mean with a recent service that I watched on stream. I don't usually watch videos on stream anymore, but I made an exception for a excerpt from a church service about a preacher going off against video games as well as anime. So it's a demonstration of both things that I used as an example here. And instead of once again talking about like real harmful effects that can come from getting obsessed over these mediums, his argument basically boils down to these things are the work of the devil because they distract you from God, which again is something that extends to everything. Literally reading a book falls into that same category. Doing anything for fun ever falls into that category. And then he also says that video games are so fun that they make church boring. So it's almost like he's like trying to get people hooked on video games. Like for a brief moment I was like, he's really hyping video games up. If I had never heard of these before, I'd be really interested to check them out. And then he beats the daylights out of an Xbox to try and make his point, which was fucking amazing. Oh yeah, I've seen like every anti-video game church sermon. I watched an entire documentary on, I think it was Pokemon being instruments of the devil, because that was a really big talking point for a little while. Alright, let me just hear the core argument.
And this is how I know that this is an idol, is because I guarantee you there's a lot of offended people in the church right now. Okay? Or even...
Brother, there's 7 people in the church right now. I'm sure they're probably not that offended. It's not a huge service today. You could probably just talk to them one-on-one.
How can Minecraft be sinful? It's literally this. This guy's, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh, he's saying sinful. It's so quiet, I can't fucking hear him. I thought he said simple. I was like, yeah, I mean, Minecraft's pretty simple. You just build some shit. Who would really get upset about that? I can't hear shit. Start worshiping your audio equipment. My God. Pardon, excuse me. Just improve the audio quality, please. Jump in Jehoshaphat.
Some pagan god. Hold on a second. What about this thing right here, though? When I start talking about this,
what is that? A Super Nintendo? What are you hitting there? That's actually a fucking Super Nintendo. Who's worshipping that? You stuck in a time vortex? That's an Xbox S? Is it?
when I say you need to grow up, does it bother you a little bit when I say put away the video games from among you? Does it bother you when I say, put that trash away, it belongs in the garbage, you're a man of God, you ought to grow in grace and the knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, don't waste your time playing video games, redeem the time because the days are evil? Does that...
What? Wait, it's not even an argument against video games anymore. It's just, why do anything that's not immediately like praising the Lord, because you're wasting your time if you're not. You can make that argument for going out to dinner. Why don't you just eat at home, save yourself the time for more one-on-one moments with the Lord? At least make arguments against video games themselves. This is literally just a time cost thing. Like, you're wasting too much time on games when you could be giving that time to the good book. And our service, of course. Please make sure to put a little bit over here. I'm working on my new car.
Become a golden calf.
Not really. It's just it's a fucking video game, brother.
Saying about that, I'm still gonna do it. You know why? Because it's just an idol. Exodus 32 verse 19.
What does this have to do with games? Oh my God, he's got the baseball bat out now. Oh my Lord, which one of you's been playing games? I can sniff the gamer on you. Step up, or I'm just gonna start swinging. God damn it.
Smash that.
Oh, I see. Oh God. Oh my.
And track.
I missed the gamer rage.
Them, the Bible says. You know what? You know what you young people need to do? You need to take your Xbox.
That's awesome. Sign me up. I want to go to one of these services. This is hype.
And trash that idol. Because you know what? That thing's taking the place of you reading the Bible. That thing's taking the place of your prayer life. That thing's taking the place of you living the righteous. It's taking the place of you improving your marriage.
Ooh, yeah. Yes, it is.
Stands in the way of my marriage and my child rearing. That's what they deserve.
What? Wouldn't you choose what stands in the way of your marriage and raising your child? You're in complete control, man. Just have some, like, self-discipline, right? Do you have a TV in your house? It's like the same thing. This has nothing to do with games at all. This is like legitimately clickbait. He's making no arguments against games. It's literally just an argument against like anything that takes time away from God, and he chose games. Could have been phone, could have been knitting, could have been drawing, could have been reading. It's worthless.
It's an idol. I hate video games because it creates apathy in the church.
Huh?
It makes people not pay attention to the preaching of God's word.
How?
It makes young people apathetic towards the truth of God's word.
How?
It makes people bored with church.
Make church more fun. What do you mean? That has nothing to do with video games. Just make the service more entertaining at that point. What are you talking about? Because people have fun at home, it makes church boring in comparison? That's a fault of yours. Make church pop off. Have like fucking pyrotechnics displays going crazy. Get like dancing lobster. Make church a fun place to go. That was interesting. Not interesting is definitely not the right word. But I'd love to hear his takes on like legitimately every hobby ever, because that does take away time from your prayer life. I wonder if he does that for actually everything, ever. He preaches hard against anime. Oh god, wait. He's anti-anime? What? Is nothing sacred? Now you gone too far. I can handle you beating the devil out of an Xbox Series X, but you target anime. Uh-oh. That's a straw that breaks the camel's back.
Because I want to get married one day. I want to move out, live with my wife, have children, have a successful family.
Cool.
Lead a family unit, be responsible. That's what I want for my life. But instead, what do you have? I want anime. I'm getting on anime right now, okay?
The fact that you even know what anime is shows me you're already a degenerate. What are you talking about, brother? You don't just like randomly come across anime. This is a dude that had an actual hentai addiction, no doubt in my mind. No shot. If he was like cartoons, then I'd be like, oh, okay, I see. But the fact that he's just like hard dropping anime, I know this man is like an actual super stan for some shit. No doubt. Video volume is maxed. They don't believe in good audio equipment at whatever place this is.
Now, what is anime? It's Japanese animation.
There's one guy in the crowd like, what? Oh! Japanese what? Animation?
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah!
What else?
Oh, don't even pretend like you don't know.
Dragon Ball Z. Now look,
he's
guys,
finding the sinners.
This is nonsense. And look, I know how this
Who's
works.
saying amen? It's just a...
Anime, some people like... he's a good guy, he's a good person, but there's a level of immaturity. Where does that come from? It comes from anime. Comes from anime. Why don't they want to get married?
Finally,
anime.
we know. True.
Get married to some stupid drawing.
Ridiculous. Fucking waifus.
One Japanese animated girl, you know, on the screen that they're in love with. It's fun,
shit,
but it's ridiculous. Get yourself a real woman. Not some animated Japanese girl. Sailor Moon, or what is that?
Why? I don't know why he's playing dumb. I really don't. I want to go to his My Anime list right now. I know this man's leaving reviews on like the most obscure shit ever. You're gonna see this man posting on High School of the Dead, like not enough titty jiggling. 4 stars. I don't know why he's fucking pretending. You're not fooling anybody here, Bruce.
I watch Batman, okay?
Oh my
God. I watch
god.
Spider-Man. I watch Superman.
He's just like us.
Yeah, I watch X-Men.
Famous anime, all of them.
And I would watch these, but you know what? I remember, like, after a while, you turn it off.
Yeah, what?
I'm just like, I see my brother working, I see adults, I see men, and I'm like,
what?
Like that.
Fucking obviously.
No, I can't be that. What's gonna happen? You know why? Because no woman is gonna respect a 25-year-old guy who still watches anime. Unless you hide it from her, then you guys get married, and now she's stuck. this is part of your life.
Oh shit, you watch anime? I'm getting a divorce. What the fuck? Ew. No, man, it's just people that just... It's no different than just watching any other TV show. Why not just extend this? I don't understand why he doesn't just broaden it. Like, this is just... What he's preaching is against literally any kind of hobby. Like, actually anything. Oh, you just get, like, lost in this world. You could say that for sports. Like, oh, you just... You know, all of these nerdy-ass sports statistics. Like, you're never going to the NBA, so please stop bringing up all of these goddamn Luka stats, right? Like, who cares? You're wasting your time. Now your wife's stuck with you because you are hiding this obsession. Like, just broaden the topic. It's not just anime you're talking about. It's literally anything that's a hobby. And I love how he's like, I used to watch Batman, but then I realized it ends. Like, yeah, no shit. It's called a runtime. It's not like you can just perpetually just like live watching TV forever.
The weak and beggarly elements of anime. And look, I know people in my personal life, they're literally in their 40s, 50s, still bumming money off of other people, not working.
And it's not because of anime, I'll tell you right now. You would be hard-pressed to find someone in their 40s and 50s that you know that's watching anime. So what is the lesson? What is the takeaway? If you just stop watching anime, you're not guaranteed a respectable job. I am so lost. It'd be very easy to turn this into some type of Christian lesson, but he's not. I don't understand what the point is. It seems like he just... Like, he watched an anime recently, and maybe had a disagreeable take on it somewhere, got insulted, and he's like, you know what? This is the root of all evils. I've got to talk about this. Your marriage is trash. Anime.
With mom,
true.
And they have children out of wedlock, and they're just losers. That is a loser life, folks. We're like, well, I'm not doing that. Yeah, but your little anime habit is going to take you to that route.
What?
That's your end game there, buddy.
Okay. Shit, I gotta stop then.
You see guys in their 40s and 50s
Shit.
hanging out with the young guys.
Yeah, like you. You're 25 years old and you're hanging out with 40 and 50-year-olds. What are you talking about? You're self-reporting. You just said that. You just said that you know 40 and 50-year-olds like this. They're hanging out with you. You're the weirdo. Well, and them too. You're all weird together then. And it's not because of anime.
People find out that you're like watching anime. If that's your life. Okay?
Yeah, true.
Down on stuff like that.
If you make anything like that your life, you're in for a rough time. Has nothing to do with your statement or your lesson here, though.
If you have a short view, foolish person, you need to rule yourself. Okay?
Huh?
In fact, I would say this: you're just an emotional person.
Ooh.
It's far too much soy.
This took a crazy turn. What the fuck? We went from anime to soy. Let's go.
Okay. Message today. Message is simply this: grow up.
No, fair enough. See, like, if that was the message the whole time, it makes sense, right? Like, if you, for example, if you make anime your whole identity and you become obsessed in it and that's all you really think about, yeah, you're in for a rough time. That extends to, like, actually everything ever. Why did he use Sailor Moon out of all examples? I don't know. I think he was trying to think of, like, normie animes so he didn't, like, make it too obvious. His biggest tell was a guy shouted Dragon Ball, and he's like, who said that? Yeah, whatever that is. And then he says, Bruce himself says Dragon Ball Z. He never said the Z, Bruce. You knew what he was talking about, fucking hidden weeb. I think he must have went through like an obsessive weeb period otaku moment in his life, regrets it, and now he's using it as a talking point. I was going to include all this shit in yesterday's video I did about the coronavirus, but I felt the way evangelists have been responding to coronavirus is totally different from how the normal people have been. Normal people aren't, out there maliciously buying toilet paper and hoarding it just to be assholes. They're panicking. They're afraid. So they're hoarding toilet paper like it's gold. They think the world's going to turn into the fucking Fallout New Vegas where they're going to be using toilet paper for currency instead of bottle caps. It's just them being afraid. Whereas the only thing some of these evangelists are afraid of is missing out on a fat paycheck. Let me make this clear. I have no problem with people of faith. That's not what this is about. I have a problem with these evangelists preying on people's fear. Saying shit like, if you buy this Christian gospel rock album, it'll set up a spiritual barrier around your house protecting you from the coronavirus. There's just been a whole bunch of this shit going on right now that I'd like to show you a bit of. Asking an evangelist to help with coronavirus is like asking your high school bully to help with your confidence and self-esteem. It makes no fucking sense. So we'll start here with Pastor Jim Bakker, who's out here peddling a silver solution as a corona cure. I also have no doubt that it's not even silver solution, it's probably just a bottle of his own urine. Also, they call him a pioneer of Christian television, and yet this shit broadcasts in like 144p and they still sell all their shit on VHS tapes. A real pioneer, real innovator. Can't wait to see what Jim Bakker's gonna do next. He might take Christian television all the way to a CD.
This influenza that is now circling the globe, you're saying that silver solution would be effective.
Well, let's say it hasn't been tested on this strain of the coronavirus, but it's been tested on other strains of the coronavirus and has been able to eliminate it within 12 hours.
Yeah.
Totally eliminate it, kills it, and deactivates it.
Yeah.
And then it boosts your immune system, so then you can support the recovery, because when you kill the virus, then the immune system comes into action to clear it out. So you want a vibrant immune system as well as an ability to deactivate these viruses.
That's so good.
Yeah, so these octogenarians hype up the silver solution like it's a goddamn panacea. This is just the stupidest shit. This is like me going on TV and saying, hey look, I have Phoenix Downs. They worked in Final Fantasy to revive people. They can bring people back from the dead in the real world too, I'm sure. They were selling these for around $125, and enough people bought them to have it become a big deal, and now they're being sued as a result of this, which is great news. I think that's fantastic, but it's sad to know that there are people out there chugging bottles of silver solution as a result of this. They're probably doing shoeies of silver solution, fucking shotgunning it like frat boys with silver solution. Now, I'm sure you already knew Kenneth Copeland was going to be in here, the world's most famous asshole evangelist.
Got in the plane that God so graciously gave us, and we're flying home. As I was going home, the Lord, real quickly, he said, Jesse, do you like your plane?
This is a conversation between Kenneth Copeland and his co-host Jesse, where they're defending their private jets because people started to call him out on, we're giving you this money and you're buying private jets. So they defend it, and it's some pretty despicable shit, honestly. I half expected him to start passing around his PayPal information and tell people that he started a fundraiser because the Lord said he needs more money for a bigger yacht.
The world is in such a shape, we can't get there without this.
That's right.
We've got to have this. You can't manage that today.
Right.
This dope-filled world.
Right.
And get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Right. That's exactly the
And
truth.
it's deadly. We're in soul business here.
Right.
This is what everyone knows Kenneth Copeland for. Him saying getting on a public airline is like getting on a long tube with a bunch of demons. Also, this man is the most demon-looking motherfucker on the planet. This guy looks downright evil. This is what I imagine Satan looks like in hell. But not only does he look and sound like he rules in hell, he fucking acts like it too.
Again, getting back to the comment, you said that you don't like to fly commercial because you don't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers.
A brief glimpse of the hellfire and wrath beneath that mask. Pretty deplorable shit, but this has nothing to do with what he's doing with coronavirus. I just wanted to bring everyone up to speed, or just give you a refresher on the Kenneth Copeland lore from the old manga, I suppose. Here's the coronavirus shit.
Put your hand on that television set.
Yes, Lord.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Sounds like the world's worst ASMR. I also don't know what his hand is covered in, the old sacred semen there or something. Looks like he just dipped it into some candle wax.
Thank you, Lord Jesus. He receive your healing.
Yes.
Now. Say it, I take it.
I take it.
I have it.
I have it.
It's mine.
It's mine.
This whole segment here reminds me of Squidward when he goes to be all alone and you keep hearing alone repeated in multiple different voices. That's this Kenneth Copeland coronavirus healing segment in a nutshell. Far be it from me to question how effective wet fingers can be when curing the coronavirus, but I mean, if you're not even in the same room with the wet fingers, I think the effectiveness of it goes down even further. I don't think putting your hand on a TV where Kenneth Copeland's hand is going to do much. In fact, maybe that TV you're touching has coronavirus on its surface and now you just kind of fucked yourself and Kenneth Copeland hasn't healed you. He's fucking pranked you and given you the coronavirus. I mean, you're really taking a gamble right there.
I thank you and praise you for it.
Yes, Lord.
And I forgive if I have aught against any.
I forgive.
And I praise you that I'm well and whole.
I praise you that I'm well and whole.
Yes. According to the word of God.
According to the word of God.
I'm healed.
Yes.
After this aired, coronavirus cases dropped to 0, and coronavirus stopped existing.
And I consider not my own body.
Yes, consider not my own body.
I consider not symptoms in my body.
I consider not symptoms in my body.
But only that which God has promised.
Only that which God has promised.
Only that what the Word has said.
Only that what the Word has said.
And by His stripes I was healed, and by His stripes I am healed now. I'm not the sick trying to get healed. I'm the healed, and the devil's trying to give me the flu.
Yeah, fuck the devil. At least this was free, I'll say. This was a free healing done through the television. At least he wasn't charging for it or anything, so that's good, especially considering everything else does have a price, like the silver solution. Alex Jones isn't necessarily an evangelist by traditional definitions, but he's also been going around saying that his toothpaste is an anti-coronavirus combatant. So this is being used by a lot of different people just preying on this panic, and I think it's despicable shit. That's it. So yeah. I saw something really gross today that I just need to vent about. There is a pastor in Indiana named John Lowe II, which sounds like a generic NPC name in The Sims, and he went on stage in front of the congregation to admit to committing adultery 20 years ago, and received a standing ovation for his honesty. The crowd was cheering as if it was E3 and their favorite video game just had a sequel announced. A massive, uproarious round of applause. All because this guy publicly admitted to cheating on his wife. And then it wasn't until the person that he had the affair with came on stage that they realized, maybe this isn't something to be happy about, because the victim was a 16-year-old girl that he molested and sexually abused at the church.
In case you don't know, I'm Pastor John Lowe, and
I already hate this shit. Pastors are worshipped more than Jesus, it feels like. I have absolutely no problem with religion or anything like that. As most of you know, I was an extremely religious youth. I got baptized twice just because I was afraid God might have missed the first one. And while I may not be religious anymore, I do still get it. But what I've never understood is why pastors themselves are treated like gods by the people that go to church. It's super counterintuitive. It goes against everything the Bible teaches. The people are there more to worship and suck the dick of the pastor than they are to, give thanks and praise Jesus. And it happens all the time, especially with pastors like Kenneth Copeland and Peter Popoff. They'll just blatantly say, we need you to give us all of your money because we require another jet to preach the good word of the Lord. And people will happily just give up their family's entire earnings to the church, to the pastors directly, to support that greed. Just actual evil assholes. I'm getting carried away, but you can see it right away here, where they're just shouting and cheering because this guy said his own name. Dude's up there to publicly confess to an actual fucking crime, and he still can't help but get cheered on like he's a rock star for it.
I committed adultery. It was nearly 20 years ago. It continued far too long. It involved one person. And there's been no other, nor any other situations of unbecoming conduct for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I highly doubt that last part from the confession where he says this is the only person it happened with. I imagine he's probably done this to multiple other victims, just a little sneaking suspicion. He's doing his best to tiptoe around the details here because he doesn't want to reveal that the victim was underage and how fucked up it all was. So he's being very careful with the way he describes the adultery.
While applying church discipline for sexual failure, for repentance, confession, and restoration, I myself had not been disciplined for sexual misconduct. I will not use the Bible to defend myself or to beat you into scriptural submission.
I'm not gonna lie, this part actually shocked me here, him saying that he's not gonna use the Bible to defend himself. That's the number one thing the Bible has been used for hundreds of years, to defend some awful shit because of a disgusting interpretation of what the Bible says. And what's even more shocking is the way that he describes the Bible here makes it sound like it's a chair in the WWE. He says, I'm not gonna beat you into scriptural submission. Bruh, it sounds like some kind of promo material that Hulk Hogan would have said, hey brother, I'm gonna use the Bible to lay the smackdown on you at the upcoming WrestleMania Raw.
Meanwhile, I hope you believe God called you here. Meanwhile, I hope you believe that God called you here, perhaps for such a time as this. Amen. To believe, to forgive, to heal, so that God can reveal His goodness to you.
Man, what the fuck are you talking about? I certainly hope there'd never come a time where the Lord calls me into church specifically to listen to some bumbling goober confess to molesting a 16-year-old girl. Why would he want me to be there for that? Why would he want any of these people to go to church to listen to that? Because I know it wouldn't be for forgiveness. No shot. Absolutely not. And what makes me really infuriated here, and I guess I can't really blame the people, it's not their fault, but them just like agreeing with him saying amen as if he's making a good point. When he's saying, I hope you believe God called you here for a time such as this, so that way we can heal, forgive, and you might see His goodness. Phrasing it in a way where it's like, if you forgive me for my actions, then the Lord might be really nice to you in return. Can I get an amen, huh? You want a shiny new car? Well, you might want to forgive me for this crime. You know, the Lord might provide.
I've committed to the Lord and now to you that I will submit to the process and recommendations of this board.
Yeah, a standing ovation for that. Amazing. There was a couple people, like, you could hear kind of cheering lightly throughout the thing, which is weird too. Like, fucking pumping their fists, like, oh my god, the pastor's fucking, and it's not his wife. Whee! Yeah! Absolute wild and wackiness. They're treating it as if it's like a little fucking Super Bowl kind of event. But let me warn you, what you're about to hear next is pretty heavy and hard to listen to. The victim herself comes forward to actually paint the picture of what happened that the pastor was leaving out. And she says this to the people that were just giving a massive round of applause and standing ovation to the guy.
I lived in a prison of lies and shame. Lying to protect the Lowe family. For years I thought I was a horrible person having suicidal thoughts, not realizing what had been truly done to me. I'm a prisoner no longer. I was just 16 when you took my virginity on your office floor. Do you remember that? I know you do, and I have plenty of other stories that I could bring to remembrance.
She describes in detail the actual nature of the adultery that he was so desperately trying to dodge. He was trying to, like, do his best to avoid every possible raindrop of detail surrounding this, but now she's the storm that's come through and has revealed all of it to the people that were just cheering for this evil man. So, I don't want to play too much of it here because, like I said, it is hard to listen to. She says it started when she was 16, and there were witnesses and people that knew what was happening, but when she tried to talk about it, all that was done was that it was covered up.
If you did it, you need to admit it. That's right. 100%.
I told you I committed adultery. I told you it went on far too long.
Did you do it? That's all we need to know.
Yes, we did.
You didn't tell them she was 14 years old.
No, at 16.
Now the crowd's turned on him with the pitchforks out and looking for a biblical beatdown of their own for this guy. And this comes because the woman, the victim, came forward with a lot of information about what happened, as well as her partner coming forward with additional information that they revealed in front of the entire congregation publicly. And now the crowd that was just cheering for him is no longer super thrilled about it. Adultery, I guess, was totally fine. They were okay with adultery and long-term adultery. But now that they've learned that it was against an underage minor, well, that's changed the whole narrative. I think both are bad. Obviously, it's worse that it's with a kid, but I don't think there was still any world where they should have been cheering for the guy who just admitted to cheating on his wife for so long. It's still fucked up. I am glad, though, that they at least somewhat came to their senses like, Jesus, this is bad, this shit is not good.
That's just the way it is. It's not all true, but that did happen, yes. And all I can do is ask you to forgive me, and I'm doing what the Bible process or biblical process is in the church on stepping down, stepping aside.
For everything that we have done wrong in our lives, that you begin to heal us, Lord.
And then once again, I was disappointed by the people here when they went up to give this guy a hug during their prayers. I'm just gonna say it, I don't think there's any power in forgiving someone like that man. That guy is a fucking monster. This went on for years, and it started when she was underage, and it was covered up. There's no power, and there's nothing righteous about forgiving an actual piece of shit like that. So the fact that after they learned all this information, after everything that was talked about during the service from the victim as well as her partner, after all of that, they still go up there and embrace him and seemingly forgive him, I guess, if the body language is anything to go off of. Just a horde of people go up there to give a giant group hug in the showers here, all up there huddled around each other like they're trying to recover a fucking fumble in football, all around that guy, who is a bad guy and doesn't deserve the forgiveness. Anyway, this video just made me upset. I wanted to talk about it, and that's really about it. So yeah. I'm not usually one who believes in the paranormal, unexplained hocus-pocus like ghouls, goblins, gnomes, ghosts, and birds. But with this situation, I am starting to believe there might be something that science can't explain. 3 days ago, I made that video on Kenneth Copeland, the man whom I believe to be a demon in human skin. He's an outrageously wealthy, corrupt preacher who uses faith to fuck the piggy banks of all of his followers to take as much money from them as possible and hoard it all for himself. And on the same day that I posted that video, this peculiar piece of information drops about an unhinged pastor going on a rant defending rapists who assault women for wearing shorts. It's just an interesting coincidence that that all broke on the same day that I was covering Kenneth Copeland. It's like that phenomenon, like in Grand Theft Auto, where you see a car you've never seen before, you steal that car, and then all of a sudden you see it everywhere. It's one of those things where I made that video, and it's not like I go out of my way looking for, like, corrupt preachers or anything like that, but then I saw this happening at the same time. And it's just one of those head-scratching moments like, is this a message from the universe letting me know that it can always be worse? That, you know, in the words of Qui-Gon Jinn, there's always a bigger fish?
This is the kind of preaching we need. I told my wife, I said, Mama, when we go to Pigeon Forge, to the outlet malls, when you go uptown here.
Goober's out here looking like Kingpin from Into the Spider-Verse. He's got that fucking wide bowling ball build here. His name is Bobby Leonard. And the way he delivers his sermons is a lot like a record constantly skipping a little bit, like he's glitching out constantly, and I have no doubt that's because he's this archaic fossil of a man. And I know that might sound a little harsh, and I'd almost feel bad for insulting this senile geriatric octogenarian, but he's also defending rape, so I really don't feel bad at all. He's a piece of shit.
We'll go sit at the parking lot at the outlet mall, the mall here. I said, you watch it. I said, count them. You'll find more women going to have shorts on than you will with pants and dresses put together.
Oh, say it ain't so. Shorts on as a woman? Those whores. Those harlots. Charlatans. Oh my goodness, Bobby. You're right. What an astute observation. It's so despicable. Wearing shorts as a female? Have some decency, have some class, have some shame. Oh, goodness gracious. So Bobby's sitting in the parking lot just looking at women, I guess. Sounding like a real creepy weirdo here, just sitting in his car looking at all the girls that go into the mall. Probably got some fucking binoculars out spying on them with hand on his meat. And he's just pointing out to his wife, look at this, can you believe it? There's more girls going in there with shorts than there are girls going in there with dresses and pants. Who could have guessed, huh? Heavens to Betsy.
So I sat there, I just want to be sure, but I sat there some time ago for, I don't know who's out in the, I guess it must have been some of the family. My wife don't go shopping now. And I sat there in my car.
What the fuck did you just say there, Bobby? It sounded like he casted an ancient spell. If I popped that sentence into Google Translate, it would destroy the service globally. It'd shut that bitch down because this is incomprehensible. What in the world? He just hit a full-blown scat man in the middle of his sermon. Sounding like Porky Pig.
I thought, I'm going to see if that's right. And I counted. Try that. You'll find more women go in those places with shorts than you will women with pants and dresses put together. Try it.
Yeah, go ahead, everyone. Try it. Land yourself on the sex offenders registry for being some kind of alarming creep in your car just looking at women's bottom half to count if they're wearing shorts versus dresses or pants. Very normal thing to do for a sane individual, Bobby. Great advice. What a remarkable challenge to issue your followers. He is way too fucking old to be speaking in front of people, by the way. He actually talks as if there's just perpetually peanut butter in his mouth and he's struggling to get through the words so that way he could, like, enunciate them. It's brutal listening to him blabbermouth like this.
If you got time, try it. Have your boy go up there and try it. Just watch for him. Have your girl go up there and watch for it. And you know, I used to say this. I haven't said this in a long time. You ready? I said, if you dress like that and you get raped and I'm on the jury, he's going to go free. You don't like, do you? I'm right, though. I can't help you don't like it. I'm right. Because, you know, a man's a man. A man's a man.
Jiminy Christmas. Bobby raping's his hobby, Leonard, just saying flat out with his whole chest, if a woman gets raped and he's on the jury and she was wearing shorts, he would let the rapist go free. What an outrageously evil individual you are, Bobby. What chapter of the Bible was this in? I don't remember this excerpt anywhere. When I first read these headlines, I thought it was potentially it being interpreted as a pastor defending rapists. But nope, he just outright says it. He's not beating around the bush. He's not trying to hide anything. He's going full mask off, just saying point blank that if he is on the jury and a woman gets raped and she's wearing shorts, Bobby would let the rapist go free. What a dangerous thought process that is. He just believes that men are going to rape a woman because she's in shorts and that they're justified in doing so. This leads me to so many questions I'd like to ask Bobby on a personal level. For instance, how many women have you sexually assaulted because of their clothing choice, Bobby? That was probably too many words. His brain can't process all of that. Let me break it down in simpler terms. How many women have you raped, Bobby? I feel as though the only people that would ever defend a heinous action such as rape would be a rapist. Like, I don't think you have many rape allies. And meanwhile, Bobby Leonard here, in front of the entire church service, takes time to justify that. So that is really alarming shit. I don't know how this plays into Christianity at all. I don't know why he would say any of this during a sermon. I don't know what he expected to happen. Like, I was with my wife the other day looking at girls going in the mall. They're all wearing shorts and stuff. And you know what? I used to say this. I'm going to say it right now. If a woman's wearing shorts and she gets raped and I'm on the jury, that man's going free. Can I get an amen? Hey, what are all these boos for?
When I was a boy, 80 years ago, I was raised in Martinsville, Virginia, partly in Moxfield, North Carolina. Listen, I don't even remember women wearing anything but dresses.
So what, you senile worm? It doesn't matter what a woman is wearing, she shouldn't be raped. Rape is bad no matter what. There's no justifying it, you absolute fucking scumbag.
Back then, well, anyway, I want you to go home depressed tonight. I'd rather go home encouraged, but I want you to go home wanting to serve God. But it seems that it seems like we've paid no attention to God.
Oh yeah, this is all about God at the end of the day here. Yeah, I'm sure this whole little tangent you're going on is very biblical. You know, the Lord was famous for justifying rape. You know, in fact, it was the 11th commandment that unfortunately Moses just left at the top of the mountain. Thou shalt not rape unless it is a woman wearing shorts. Am I right, Bobby?
Isn't that right? And the Bible says sometime that people think God has delayed his coming. And so as a result of thinking God's delayed his coming, they begin to eat and drink and be drunken. And it seemed like right tonight, if all of our people, everybody comes to our church thought that Jesus was coming Friday night, Saturday morning, you think they'll all be here?
What are you even saying? Are you drunk? Are you overdosing on Xanax? What is going on? There wasn't even a coherent thought in that entire, like, long fucking slurred speech there. That was actually nothing. It was a whole bunch of gobbledygook. There was nothing there. They're just letting anyone be a pastor these days, I guess. It's actually super interesting that the only time he's even lucid, like the only time when he's talking that makes any sense, is when he's saying that if he was on the jury and a woman got raped wearing shorts, the man would go free. That's the only thing he actually said that he didn't stumble his way through the statement of, saying a man's a man, a man's a man, so he would let the rapist go free. Maybe it's because that's the only thing he truly believes out of everything he was spouting during the sermon, so that's the only thing he was able to deliver with conviction, without just like falling and stumbling his way through his statements. It's horrifying. What a fucking sickening individual. Now, he did respond to the backlash, basically just apologizing. He said, "I am sorry for any hurt. I was wrong." So extremely concise, and I feel as though he's not sorry, he just doesn't like all of the negative attention it's brought to him in the church. Also, apparently the way he apologized was by putting it on their sign out front, so like the fucking billboard, "I am sorry for any hurt. I was wrong. Pastor Leonard." Literally has it like a new McDonald's item that they put on those boards out front of McDonald's. That's where he posted his apology for all of it. Again, I don't think he's remorseful even slightly. I think that's what he truly believes. He is a piece of shit. That's really about it. So yeah.